Chapter 3, 1944. The war continues at a great pace. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, a new year begins quietly at Mom's home. She still looks forward to Dad's letters and has to be content with that form of keeping in touch. January 1, 1944. My darling Johnny, Happy New Year. I have Mother by my side while I'm writing to you. This is how I'm spending my time on New Year's Eve, ringing out the old and bringing in the new. I'm looking at your picture, and I have tears in my eyes. I'm wishing we could be together. Some of my tears are happy, because we still stay in touch by writing. It is wonderful that we are still sweethearts, only with tears of sorrow, because we can't be together on account of this war. I want you to remember nothing can take away the happiness we have shared. I keep memories and happy thoughts of more times we shall spend together. There is a quarter of a moon and the stars are shining brightly. I'm sitting in the living room where I wish you were with me. Mother is calling me to come downstairs for she knows I feel very blue, and she doesn't want to leave me out of her sight. I join her with a heavy heart. I'll say my evening prayers and go to sleep with your picture beside me. My love to you, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, still on leave in Australia. Still on leave in Australia. Dad is teasing Mom by telling her about his very frequent visitor, namely a nice, big, fat mouse. He says it's the kind that make women scream and jump up on a table, but he assures Mom he will always remain at her side to protect her. January 5, 1944. Dearest Mary, I'm a bit screwy this evening, but happy as usual. How are you? Did you see the New Year in, or did you sleep through it? I stayed up until 3 a.m. Has my mail been coming through? I know I got a few letters numbered wrong, but I think you can figure out which one was written first. I've been receiving a very frequent visitor who is just passing through my tent. It is a nice, big, fat mouse. You know, the kind that makes women scream and jump up on a table. They don't seem to realize when they do this. Their dress flies up above their knees. I bet you are afraid of them. But don't worry, because I will always be there to protect you. The jungle is fine, but as usual, I say, Jungle, I want to go home, Johnny. It's almost time for my coffee, which I must have before I go to bed. Some of those sweet kisses took care of me, but that was before I heard from Uncle Sammy. Now I have an awful substitute. Well, my sweet, I will say so long for now. With lots of that love stuff, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey. It is winter now and very cold. Mom or her sister Jeannie has to walk over a mile to get to the post office to pick up any letters. January 6, 1944. Hello, sweets. How is Trix with you? Are you a good boy and have you been taking care of yourself? I wrote you some letters, but I didn't get a chance to mail them, but I will soon. I hope to be able to go to the post office. The cold weather is the worst part of winter. Writing letters isn't so bad, but mailing them is awful because we have to walk over a mile to get to the post office. The post office is closed when I get up to go to work, and then it is closed before I come home from work. Thank goodness for Jeannie as she goes to pick up the mail for me. We had rain most of the day, and especially around the time I was coming home from work. I got all soaked. After all, I do have 15 blocks to walk home from the bus line. I was so cold that I stripped all my wet clothes off and got into a nice hot tub and took a bath. It felt so good. All my love, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, returning to New Guinea. Dad is excited to find a lot of mail for him. His little shack is still standing, and he assures Mom he has plenty of room for her letters, so he wants her to keep them coming. January 6, 1944. My dear Mary, I had a few days furlough, but now, kid, I'm back in camp. Everything is the same here. There are a few new faces, but my little shack is still standing. I was delighted to find so much mail waiting for me. 80% of it was from you, so now you know why I'm so happy. Darling, how could you ever think I would throw away your letters? I have room for 1,000 more, so just keep them coming. This is leap year. How about leaping in my direction? It's not too far to go. I certainly would be waiting for you no matter how long it would take to get here. Take good care of your heart for me. Consider yourself kissed goodnight, although it would be much sweeter in person. Lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front, still in New Guinea, Dad tells Mom should he get home before the war ends, he'll try to be sent to Fort Monmouth Radio School. He expresses sympathy as she was stuck in bed on Christmas Day, January 9, 1944. Dearest Honey, if I should get home before the war has ended, I will make a large attempt to be sent to Fort Monmouth Radio School. It's only 4 miles from my home. I haven't got the lightest idea how the Army will handle my return. I'm just trying to think ahead. I'm glad to hear the battle of what department you should work in is over. You must be a very valuable, knowledgeable worker on the A1 list. You're always on my A1 list, baby. Please go to all the dances, for I want you to have a good time. Make sure you remember our dances as well. Baby, you're stuck with me. I'm so sorry to hear you spent Christmas Day in bed with a sore throat. I spent mine fighting the Japs on KP that day. The picture I sent you of myself must be getting a lot of attention. I'm jealous of my picture because I can only imagine it slept under your pillow. Woohoo! Oh well, some pictures have all the luck. A heart full of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in Australia, Dad is on his leave staying overnight with a swell bunch of guys from his old company. He assures Mom that he is still many miles away from the Japs. Even on leave, he still continues to keep her in his mind and heart. January 11, 1944. Dearest Mary, I finally got started on my leave. I'm much closer to my destination. I'm staying overnight at a detachment of my old company, and they are a swell bunch. I am many miles away from the Japs. How these places change from dirt roads to paved roads sure is something. Uncle Sam doesn't waste any time. We enjoyed some swell iced tea for lunch today, and I guess I had about 6 cups of it. Boy, did it taste good. Last night, a bunch of us went swimming in the ocean around 9:30 p.m. We had a great time. The water wasn't too warm for a change. Of course, you weren't nearby, so I didn't get a chance to dunk anyone. Rest assured, there will come a day for that. Even though I'm on leave, I just can't get you off my mind. Why would I want to do that anyway? Darling, things are working out nice for me and my luck continues to be good. Perhaps I will be home by midsummer so we could have a day to go swimming. I can't wait to see you in a bathing suit with all those lovely curves. Lots of love and kisses, your Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom writes Dad a letter using funny war stationery. The whole family suffers as they all get colds and the grip. January 16, 1944. My dearest Johnny, I guess I'm punished for showing off by telling the girls in the plan about the letters you sent me. Everyone in our family had the colds and I had the grip. I could feel that tight burning grip around my throat and chest, and it sure got me down. Honey, I am proud of you and what you're doing, so of course, I tell my friends and family about your letters. Now I have 21 letters of yours to reread and answer. I just don't know where to start. I'm getting better now, so I'll write as many letters as I can. I hope you're feeling well and having some great adventures. Love, your Mary. On the Southwest Pacific War Front, playing tennis in Australia, Dad has an opportunity to play tennis with 2 very good players. They gave him quite a workout, but he did manage to beat them. He's not accustomed to being free and doesn't know what to do with himself. January 18, 1944. My dear Mary, yesterday I played about 4 hours of tennis with 2 very good Australian players. They sure gave me a workout. However, I beat them anyway. Australia is a tennis country and just chock full of good players. I rode all around town on my bike and checked out everything, except you, of course. Darn it anyhow. No matter what I do, I can't get you off my mind. Who would want to do this? Not me. I know there must be at least 6 letters waiting for me back in camp. I can't wait to go back and enjoy reading them. Half the time, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm not accustomed to being free this way. I hope you haven't been worrying your pretty little head about me, for I'm very safe. Being in the 5th Army Air Corps makes it this way. The Japs haven't got a chance to reach us by air, and that's the only way they have. Darling, waiting for our day together seems so much closer now. I know you'll never disappoint me, for being with you is all I ever want. With tears of joy I say this. That's how much I mean it. Remember, I mean every word I say from the bottom of my heart. I do hope I'm still A1 with you. I'm going to the theater and I'll try to make believe you're sitting next to me. I'll feel alone, but I know you'll be there in spirit. All my love to you, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in Australia, Dad wants to keep his dancing skills sharp for Mom, so he attends any dances he can find. He tells her the jungle makes one quiet and listen to animal noises. She is happy to find out he's not wasting money on drinks at a bar. January 20, 1944. Dearest Mary, here I am somewhere in Australia enjoying my leave. I hope it's my last one overseas. In the evening, I went to the dance as usual. I spent my time dancing every dance on the floor. Why would I want to sit them out? I can do all the sitting I want in camp. As I dance, naturally I talk to the victims, and some of the answers I hear are very funny. I say to them, "My, you dance very nicely." They come back with, "Now take it easy, bud. I ain't got my snowshoes on." The snow job is a common expression around here. I'm guessing it will be listed in the Aussie dictionary. The definition of a snow job is more than 3 words said to an Aussie babe by a Yank. The first 2 days I couldn't get used to talking to anyone. I'm telling you the jungle makes one quiet, so you can listen to the animal noises. So many Yanks spend $100 a week for drinks, and that adds up to $300 after 3 weeks. Please don't think I throw money away like that. I don't believe in throwing my money away on nothing. I think of you and love you so much. All my heart-filled love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, hearing war news in Australia. Dad hears through the grapevine that both the European War as well as the Pacific War is going great guns. He enjoyed another movie starring Loretta Young. He says Mom should have heard the boy's whistle when she came on the screen. February 1st, 1944. My darling Mary, last night I had a dream about you. I think it was because I had some fruit cake that my sister-in-law Mary sent me. I dreamt I was home for 4 days, and for some unknown reason, I couldn't go to see you. Boy, I was really trying. But before I was able to find the problem, I woke up. Darn it. I never did figure out what the problem had been. I know this may sound like a snow job, but honestly, cross my heart, it's true. I have heard that the European and the Pacific Wars are going great guns. When I was listening to my radio the other day, it was mentioned that Germany is telling its people that Berlin is in danger. I saw a swell picture last night called Now or Never. You ought to hear the boy's whistle when Loretta Young came on the screen. She has what it takes to make a sweater look good. You sure have it too, so there, as if you didn't know it already. Here is a corny joke for you. There was a salesman who worked in a furniture store. A pair of newlyweds walked in and said they wanted twin beds instead of one bed, for she was a timid soul. They picked out 2 twin beds. The salesman then said, "You better buy a rug as well." "Why?" asked the couple. He said, "You must have a rug between the 2 beds." He added, "Too many couples have told me they wish they had a rug because they wore out the floor walking back and forth between the beds. You see, hon, why I don't want twin beds? If you are as innocent as you claim, you should believe the reason I stated. However, we do know the difference, eh, hon? Now don't blush, for I can't see you anyway. I feel like a monkey tonight. I could just climb all over you if only I could get my hands on you. I got a large amount of Jap Paso money, so I'm sending some to all my friends. Of course, you're definitely one of my friends, so you will get some in the mail as well. You are my sweetheart and will always be first with me. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, catching up on rest in Australia. Dad indulges himself with an all-day rest. Mom teases him by adding an imprint of lips to her letters. Tojo stations say his location was bombed and completely destroyed. February 14, 1944. Today was my day off, so I spent all day sleeping. No kidding, this climate makes you want to sleep. I received a few letters from you with those luscious lips on them. Baby, don't do this to me. So close yet so far away. Those lips look so tempting, and this yank can't wait to get down to real business. I'm listening to some very good American music. It's especially for troops in New Guinea, the Aussies and the Yanks. This music is coming from a Tokyo radio station. They think we will fall for their baloney. Mary, how would you like to hear one of Tojo's stations say that this place was bombed? It was completely destroyed. I guess you can consider me gone with all my pals. Of course, they didn't even send a butterfly over our area during those raids they mentioned. Oh, the life of a man in the jungle. Pull over and greet a vine or two hanging from a tree. But first make sure it's not a snake in disguise. Keep smiling, dearest. Lots of love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in Australia, Dad is trying to get caught up with answering Mom's letters. He is telling her to be patient while he checks on the rotation of men for the month's quota. February 15, 1944. My little darling. I'm still trying to get caught up with answering your letters. You must talk the gals' heads off at the plant. Imagine them telling you they're dreaming about me. I think it's best not to plan too far in advance as far as we are concerned. The past year's rotation has averaged 2 men a month for its quota. I am about 25th on the list. It seems they don't think of you until you have 34 months of service. I have about 5 more months, and then maybe something might happen with my rotation. Now, darling, don't get all excited. It's only my impression and nothing is official. Don't get your curves in a tizzy. But please do take care of them for me. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, still on leave in Australia. Dad's hoping the rats haven't carried his tent away. He misses the winter season and all the fuss Mom always made every time he visited. He can't wait to say, meet my future wife to his family and friends and watch their eyes pop. February 16, 1944. My darling girl, I'm still on leave and I hope the rats haven't walked away with my little tent. I'll fix them if they try anything. I bought some poison for this purpose. I hope you haven't been catching many colds this winter. Winter must be something. I've almost forgotten how snow looks. Please be very careful and try to stay healthy for me. I really miss the fuss you made every time I came to your house. I do receive letters from home, and they always ask about you. They know I'm happy when things are okay with us. I'll be so proud to say, meet my future wife, and then watch their eyes pop. Listening to the radio makes me cry for joy. Our troops are jumping the islands closer to Tokyo, and things are really happening now. I have to say I'm very lucky to be in the Army Air Corps. The boys in our company are handy like me, and we've a lot in common. I was so afraid I would lose you after the last night we spent together. I'm happy it turned out very different. I bet you thought you wouldn't hear from me after a while. Little did you know what went on in my heart. We started to call each other dear and now it's more serious. Am I glad I learned to dance? I don't believe I told you that story. At first I took 6 lessons. After that I practiced on my victims. You're a really dangerous girl, and in a way I like, so that's why I fell in love with you. Keep up the good lovin'. Lots of love and that sort of sweet stuff. Your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, leaving Australia back to New Guinea. Dad will be leaving tomorrow for wide open space and the jungle. He enjoys ice cream and malted milk, knowing it will be some time before he is able to enjoy another treat like that. February 17, 1944. My darling Mary. Well, tomorrow morning I leave for the wide open spaces and the jungle. I feel very satisfied right now. I spent all day drinking. No, not the hard stuff. I only had ice cream and malted milk, because I know it'll be some time before I see another treat like that. I went to the dance as usual, getting in my last fling. I saw a funny thing this afternoon. A car started off like a house on fire in first gear. Then the fellow tried to put it in second gear. He accidentally put it in reverse. The darn car jumped 4 feet in the air and went backwards. The car was going pretty fast at the time, so it was a miracle how it ever got into reverse. I don't think you know how to drive, but baby, you sure can park. Darling, I can't wait for our first date when I get back home. I have so much to tell you. I really want to show you how much I love you. The first date we had before I went into the Army Air Corps. I told you someday I'm going to marry you. Baby, I mean it. The sweet memories of you keep me going along happily in my work so I can do my part for this war. If I said I miss you a lot, it is only putting it mildly. Lots of love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is reminiscing about his family who think Mom is tops. He starts talking and planning all the places he and Mom should visit and how he wants to show her off as his girl to his relatives in Passaic, New Jersey. February 18, 1944. Dearest sweet one, I was very happy to hear about my brother visiting you. Their letters say they think you are tops, and that goes for the rest of the family as well. I wish someone would take a picture of you in your bathing suit and send it to me. As you know, I'm anxious to see you and your curves in a bathing suit. While I was in Australia, I did come across a few British sailors. I understand from what they told me that Asbury Park, New Jersey is just full of babes with curves. That's one place we must go to see together when I get my release from this army. My commando mission to Mackay is over now. I wish to be sitting on the sofa with you at night and the rest of that togetherness stuff. I'm sitting here all by my lonesome listening to the wireless radio. In case you are interested, the programs are swell. I'll be glad when I am able to take you to Passaic, New Jersey to meet some of my relatives. They are a swell bunch, and I can't wait to show you off as my girl. Hoping to see you soon and missing you an awful lot. Lots of sweet stuff, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea. Dad is working in the jungle and waiting for real honest-to-goodness ice cream. He is enjoying the USO shows and looking at Mom's picture. He says tomorrow is rifle inspection, so he is polishing his trusty rifle. February 23, 1944. Dear Lonesome One, this is Lonesome number 2. I'm sweating out the ice cream machine because we plan to have real, honest-to-goodness ice cream tomorrow. Hooray! We all enjoy the USO show, and most of the fun comes from the crowd. Such ideas the jungle puts in your head. Your picture is looking at me in the usual way, and I feel like doing certain things, but of course, I cannot at the present time. Once again, it's a beautiful evening outside here. I always write to you at night, for we spent many nights together. Somehow I feel right in the groove at this time. Each day brings me closer to when I get to be a USO commando. I admit it will be rough fighting all your charms. However, I have a special plan to handle the situation. Tomorrow is rifle inspection, so I polished my trusty rifle. It's just a check to see if we are taking care of our equipment. This drafted heart of mine misses you so much, sweetheart. Please keep your pretty face full of smiles for me. Lots of love stuff, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, still in New Guinea, the news of the war is it is moving at a great pace, and the Japs are catching hell now. Dad is pleased for there's a new first sergeant, and it is one of the boys in our outfit. February 25, 1944. Dearest Kid, I'm just sitting around doing nothing, so I made the great decision to write a sugar report to you. Enclosed, you will find a pen I picked up for you in Australia. You must have quite a collection by now. I'll be glad when I can be added to your collection. The news about the war is that it's moving at a great pace, and the Japs are catching hell now. I have some more native pictures to send you in the near future. We have a new first sergeant now, and it's one of the old boys in our company. He's a swell guy, and we are all glad to see him get the break. He will jump from buck sergeant to master sergeant as far as we can tell at the present moment. My radio is playing full blast with such wonderful programs. I know they would be so much better if you were by my side. We could be enjoying all the great nonsense. Have you forgotten what it was like to be together? All I need is a big hunk of you, and I'd be perking on all my cylinders at a great pace. Of course, I'd behave. If you shut your eyes when I kiss you, I'll make sure you get an awful lot of attention. I'll have you gasping for air. Ain't I brute? I frighten myself, especially when I look in the mirror. The boys are giving our departing lieutenant a party, and I assure you there won't be any water. We all hate to see him leave. We could call him by his first name, and it was okay with him. The usual way is Sir this and Sir that, but not for him. Well, dearest, without trying, I have completed a letter. See what you do to this guy. Closing with all my love to you, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad praises Mom for her ability to secure packages and thanks her for the mushroom soup and salami. There is a young Filipino boy working with the group. He is only 14 years old and has successfully killed 17 Japs. He wants to stay with Dad's group wherever they go. He's also enjoying music in the mess hall. February 28, 1944. My darling Mary, I received your 5th package today and it was in very good shape. It is the one with the mushroom soup and salami inside. You see, hon, packages do get here eventually. They usually get wet or some fall apart if they are not secured properly. You sure know how to secure a package. It's no wonder they come through intact. You're some package yourself. You're my sweater gal. There are 2 kinds of sweater gals. One looks as big as a sweater, and the other looks well like you. Here is a little poem for you. Be as it may, a bee is such a busy soul. He has no time for birth control, and that is why. In times like these, there are so many sons of bees. We have a young Filipino boy working for us. He's a swell kid. At 14, he joined the guerrillas and went into the hills to fight the Japs. He fought for 3 years before we got here. He has 17 Japs to his credit officially and has an American Army rifle with a permit to carry it. He was a guide for a long time and is an excellent shot with all our guns. He uses slang just like us, and he wants to stay with us no matter where we go. Well, my darling, I wish I could show you in person how much I appreciate all those packages. Take care of yourself, my sweet one. All my love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, serving in New Guinea. Dad complains once again about the mail that has been painfully slow. He is listening to a new radio station from Port Moresby, New Guinea. General MacArthur spoke as well, and Dad is hoping to finally get some real up-to-date information. He asks Mom if she got the merino wool foot rug he sent while he was on leave in Mackay. March 2, 1944. My dear sweet one, here's a little note that I have cooked up during my lunch hour. I just had a very good meal. We had French fries and a lot of regular things prepared in a way that made one enjoy them. We now have a radio in our mess hall, so we enjoy music while we beat our guns with this horse meat. There is no ice cream, but I know. We now have a radio in our mess hall, so we enjoy music while we beat our guns with this horse meat. There's no ice cream, but I knew it wouldn't last. Boo-hoo. Did you get the rug I sent you while I was on leave? It keeps your feet warm when you get out of bed in the morning. Of course, I hope my letters keep your heart warm. The rug is made of the finest wool in the world called merino. I do hope you don't think it is too nice to use. It was the best thing I could find in Mackay. Of course, had I gone to Sydney, I could have gotten something else, for that is the modern part of Australia. Some people don't know there is currently a war. If someone shot his mother-in-law, he would get the complete front page in the newspaper. Yet the large attacks in Rabaul, Indonesia only get a few lines. It sure is a funny world. Darling, we are in love and we both know it. Isn't it wonderful at times but awful at other times? Having you for my sweetheart is like a beautiful dream. I just heard a bell and we stuck our heads out thinking it was a work call. However, the first sergeant said, ice cream. You could hear mess kits rattling all over camp, and it sounded like bells on a truck back home. Everyone made a split-second run to be the first in line. Yeah, man, it sure was good chocolate and vanilla. Well, kid, this is all for now. Lots of love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad sends Mom a hilarious picture of himself sporting a grass skirt with shells on his chest. He has been rather busy repairing planes, jeeps, and radios. Dad is lucky enough to receive a visit from a friend of his old company. March 4, 1944. My darling Mary, I know I say this a lot, but I haven't heard from you in over a week now. It feels like a long time, so you see how you have spoiled me. Enclosed is a picture of me going native. Some legs, eh, kid? I hope the pose isn't too much for you, hon. But that's the way they look over here. Of course, it's become my best outfit. Notice the legwork. I'd like to see you in an outfit just like this. Since fellows have been going home, I've been rather busy repairing planes, jeeps, and radios. I am beginning to like this work more each day. When I fooled around doing work before, I never had the equipment like I have on hand now. I have learned a lot. I'm getting used to this jungle gradually, but it is a dead place. We have not heard of any Jap trouble for a long time. They must be too busy running toward Tokyo. Don't forget to save me a big bunk of your love, sweetheart. Loads of love, your Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom wishes Dad a very happy birthday and sends him her love and a big kiss. March 5, 1944. My darling Johnny, I just thought I would drop you a few lines as I have very little to tell you. Oh yeah, did you have a very happy birthday? I hope so, or am I too early? Anyway, here is a big kiss for you. Johnny, how is my heart behaving? Oh, now I remember where it is. You took my heart all the way overseas with you. You better be careful with it. Oh, honey, I have so many of your letters to answer. Honestly, dear, you are so wonderful to take the time to write to me so often. I'm writing this letter right in my new bedroom. We had to make an entrance for the people upstairs, so we made a wall along the stairs. Mother and I bought a lovely studio couch and a nice little chest of drawers. At night, we open up the studio couch and it serves as a bed for my sister Jeannie and I. It looks lovely, but it is a little chilly as we have no heat in this area yet. Dear, did I tell you I received your peanut can with the Australian ring and the other ring? When you get back, we'll both wear rings and we can be kind of twins, okay? Love, your dear Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad enjoyed a visit from a friend who is from his old company. He says this man is on his way home after completing 300 hours as a radio gunner, and he was able to come away with barely a scratch. March 6, 1944. My darling Mary, how's your heart? Is it still warm for me, or am I in the doghouse? I was lucky to have a visit from my friend who is from my old company. He is on his way home after completing 300 hours as a radio gunner. He was very lucky to come away with barely a scratch. The nearest he came to getting hit was 2 feet away. He had been in all those major victories you've been hearing about at home. Life is awful without you, and when we tie that knot, things will be so wonderful. I can hardly wait, but I know I have to be patient. Remember, somewhere there is a boy who is eating his heart out over you. That's me, of course. Good night, sweetness. Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom thinks about Dad so much that she pictures him in her travels to and from work. She actually went to the bakery and got a roll of paper 5 feet long because she wanted to write a very long letter to him that was the exact height of herself. March 10, 1944. Honey, we have a new bus driver who takes us to and from work every day. Boy, I'm telling you, he looks just like you. I couldn't take my eyes off him the first few days. I thought, oh my, maybe that is Johnny. Maybe he came back and got a bus driver's job and forgot he had a girlfriend here. Maybe he has lost his memory and does not love me anymore. The thought almost drove me crazy, but after receiving a few more letters from you, I regained my mind. Then I knew it was another fellow. However, I'm telling you, his looks, ways, actions, and especially his black hair reminded me of you. Don't start worrying about me now because I realize I was wrong. A month ago, 2 girls from Jeannie's department named Tessie and Ida, Genevieve, Jeannie, and I went to a vaudeville show and movie in Bound Brook, New Jersey. While we were there, we saw another fellow that looked so much like you that he made me cry. I'm such a crybaby. This fellow played approximately 6 different harmonicas, and he sure was great. It only costs 10 cents to go from Manville to Bound Brook. The bunch of us girls had a grand time. However, I wouldn't want to do it too often. I might get spoiled. However, I do hope to take Mom and Dad out someday soon to the same places. The following Thursday, some fellows came to visit us. We were folding some of Mom's wash, so they helped us. Well, everything was going along fine until we came to Dad's long underwear. After that, we came to my brother Leo's underwear and some of Mom's personal things as well as our personal items. Oh, how red-faced and embarrassed we were. We burst out laughing and ran into the other room. My mom thought we were going crazy until she found out what all the excitement was that took place. The other day, we met two other fellows, Merle from Kentucky and a Polish fellow named Chet. We walked downtown and had some soda. My mom invited them in for dinner. When that Polish fellow saw that we were going to eat for dinner, his eyes nearly popped out. When that Polish fellow saw what we were going to eat for dinner, his eyes nearly popped out. Mom had made potato, cabbage, and prune dumplings. After dinner, we all went for a walk downtown. When we got back home, I got devilish and turned out the light in the living room. We danced to the music by the light of only the radio. After a while, the fellows left to catch the 10:45 p.m. bus to New Brunswick, New Jersey. Johnny, darling, when are you and I going to dance by only the light of the radio? The music will be playing on the radio, and the music from our hearts will also be heard in our living room. I can hardly wait. Honey, I have to go downstairs and give my sister Jeannie a hand cleaning the house. I'll hurry like the dickens to get done and return to finish this letter. If I can't make it, you can picture me with a little house dress on and an apron over it. My hair will be tied up in a kerchief, and I will be wearing ankle socks with my little house shoes. What a sight. I don't remember how I ended this long letter, although I went to the bakery and bought a long roll of paper. I wanted to write a very long letter. I folded it in half and kept writing. The letter measured 5 feet long, which is my exact height, and 16 inches wide. Sweetheart, let people say anything they want. I only know one thing, and that is you are meant for me, and I am meant for you. I must owe you a bunch of letters. Somehow, I can't catch up with you. Remember now, I'm not complaining, only explaining. I can write to you all day and night and never run short of words or get too tired. With love, your sweetheart. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom is truly in love with Dad, and they are getting very comfortable with each other. She is amazed he picked out a perfect rug for their bedroom. March 12, 1944. Dear honey, you mean so much to me. Darling, what a big surprise I got when I received that beautiful fur rug. I love it. It will look beautiful in our bedroom. How do you know what I like? Honey, you're certainly spoiling me. Honestly, I can't get over the fact that you're so different from all the fellows I've been out with on dates. You seem to know everything about me. I will keep on dreaming until you come home and make my dreams come true. I hope you enjoy reading my letter as I enjoyed writing it for you. With love, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific War Front, sending pictures of natives in New Guinea. Dad tries to picture Mom in a suit and how she might look as a housewife. He likes the innocent, shy look on her face, but he doubts she is completely innocent. He points out the fact that he needs a wife because he has a hole in his pants. Dad's birthday is soon, and he is sending Yank newspapers for Mom to save. March 14, 1944. My dearest love, today I feel happy for many reasons. The main one is I received a letter containing the pictures of the whole family. I enjoyed your cute figure. Boy, you're some eyeful dressed in that suit. You're worth at least 1/2 whistles by passing wolves. I see the way you will look as a housewife. I'm not a bit disappointed, but I'll have to slow you down for you work too hard. I'll be your helper so you can hold me in your arms and tell me I did a good job. That shy look in your face is cute. However, I doubt you're that innocent. I see what you'll look like after I come home from work. You'll drop everything, grab No Not Me a can opener and say, honey, here's your supper. Enclosed is an awful picture of the natives and myself. Notice the hole in my pants. Doesn't that prove I need a wife? I am sending you some Yank newspapers to save for me. Now I have a general idea how you'll look when you are wearing your bathing suit. Boy, will I be glad to stroll along the beach and pass all my wolf friends. Remember, there will come a day when we can plan many more activities to do together. I will make you very happy now by closing my big mouth. Lots of love and kisses, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom and Dad have to settle for just hugging and kissing each other's pictures. They have sent each other some poems and songs as well. March 22, 1944. Dear Johnny, it seems so long since we last talked face to face. I don't mind reading your letters and answering them, but it is definitely not the same as person to person. Oh, Johnny, I can't wait until you come home and take me in your arms and kiss me. As for the present time, I guess I will have to settle for just hugging and kissing your picture. I have a little poem for you. It seems so very strange the way we two met, learning to care through letters we sent. My heart will remember, my mind can't forget. I'll cherish the pins you gave me. Your wings I'll wear over my heart. Your face in my mind grows clearer. I pray we shall never part. Recalling our first meeting, the way we smiled as we stared, hoping that you felt, and I was hoping that you cared. Before we two had to part, I knew deep in my heart, no matter what the future holds, we will never grow apart. Love always, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea. It's Dad's birthday. However, it feels like any ordinary day, for there is no celebration when one is in the army. He tells Mom the reason New Guinea is rough on him is because he can't see his darling Mary. He is sending more Yank newspapers for her to add to the collection. March 23, 1944. My darling Mary, I bet you can't guess what day it is today. Yes, it's my birthday, and the second one away from home. It's just an ordinary day for me. I didn't even have a nip of jungle juice all day. The mail delivery has been awful lately. I'm guessing the postman is asleep or something. When I get home, people will ask me if New Guinea was rough on me. I'll tell them, you bet, because I couldn't see my Mary for what felt like a lifetime. This is why it was so rough on me. I'm sending some more Yank newspapers along to you today. I could make some remarks in them, but then I would have to worry about the censor. Please save them for me so I can show them to our kids someday. Some of the articles apply to us, and a good part of it is filled by the 5th Air Force, of which I am also a representative. Well, darling, think of me as I do you, and don't ever lose hope. All my heart, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom and Dad's relationship is growing closer with every letter they send and receive. March 23, 1944. Hello, darling. How are you? I am fine, but sometimes I feel blue, especially when I think of you so far away and in danger with this war. I am thinking of the little song called You'll Never Know by Ella Fitzgerald. The words help me to focus on you and I. It helps me to feel more connected to you. This is how I'm feeling right now. I miss you very much. With love, your sweetheart Mary. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom is now addressing Dad as darling, and she is concerned about his health. March 26, 1944. My darling, you speak of coming home quite often. Then you ruin it by saying it's only a dream, and you'll have to pinch yourself a few times to make sure it's true. Don't you believe in miracles? Well, I do. You also tell me of how awful that jungle is, and I know how hot and miserable it is. I know how lonely you are in that hellhole. Then you try to cover it up by saying it's because you miss me too much. Sweetheart, that's the same with me sometimes, but wait until you come home to me. It will be our heaven, and our life shall begin anew. We shall live again in each other's arms. Your honey, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea. Dad is wondering whether he will gain a higher rank because of his overseas service. He says he has gained a lot of knowledge. March 26, 1944. My darling Mary. Sweetheart, I got your reply from the last letter I wrote. Gosh, honey, I didn't mean to make you feel so blue. After receiving your sweet letter, I felt like digging a hole and crawling inside. I don't know what got into me. It must have been things around here that put me in a bad mood even before I got your sweet reply. It looks hopeless for me to get something to show for my overseas service. I know you will love me no matter what rank I hold. I have gone through so much in comparison to these who come from the States as sergeant or a higher rank. As for gaining as much knowledge as I can, I've been made a corporal twice in 2 months for 2 different companies. I would like being a sergeant. When I get home, I don't want to be pushed around by some egghead who acquired a rank of sergeant in 3 weeks fighting the Battle of New York City. I know what kind of girl you are, and boy am I lucky. I found the most wonderful girl who is clean, honest, and sweet. You're also thoughtful, and baby, you swept me off my feet. Honey, don't you ever think I'm playing with your heart. Ever since I told you I was going to marry you, I've been preparing for our future. Yes, darling, you mean the world to me. We are sweethearts, and we will remain united that way. With all my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, he receives a surprisingly large letter from Mom. Dad requests some time off from his work schedule. He asks his section chief for extra time so he can read it. He showed the letter to the chief so he would believe the request. March 27, 1944. My darling Mary, I was surprised to get your large letter. I want you to know I'll never worry about you again. All day long, my friends kept asking me to let them read your large letter. I think they were jealous. I asked my section chief if I could have the morning off. He asked me why, and I told him I have a long letter to read. I showed him how big the letter was, so he wouldn't think I was trying to put one over on him. Darling, I can see you really care for me, and even if you had been trying to keep me guessing, the letter gave you away. Yes, your heart spoke to me. Now I know for sure how you really feel about me. I got your birthday card and I knew you wouldn't forget me. I spent that day just like any ordinary day because nothing is celebrated in the army when you are overseas. Besides, there wasn't any jungle juice in sight. Having you as my sweetheart even while I am so far away makes our love test a real one. It is wonderful to think in only 3 months we were able to realize how much we care about each other. I wish I could keep hugging and kissing you until you holler murder. I haven't kissed my girl for 22 months. Do you see what I mean when I say it's girls like you that make war so rough on us boys? Have you looked around for a good spot to put our tent? As I explained to you in the past, I can't just forget about living in a tent. I know I wouldn't have to sweat in a chow line, and just you wait until I get started on creating our baseball team. Your letters sure snapped me out of that disappointing mood I had been experiencing for over a week. Your letters are so different from those first short ones. You are more comfortable with what you can say without me getting the wrong idea. You were even afraid to call me darling then. However, look at you now, so brave and sweet. You're always sticking by me and I appreciate it. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is answering Mom's large letter by kissing the lips she stamped on it. He is ready to settle down, get married, and tell the stork to bring a black-haired baby boy to them. March 29, 1944. My dear one, I finally get to answer your large letter by kissing the lips you sent on it. That's a preview of the treatment I expect to get when I come rolling in. Here's the latest corny joke. A New Guinea old-timer says, as I live and dream in this jungle, I dream of a white mistress, but it all turns black to me now. Gosh, honey, you seem to have so many feelings, and you cry over the silliest things. I guess I'll have to get used to that. You always take the things to heart. By the way, be sure to save me some room in your heart. I'm trying to keep in shape for you. Love, Johnny. P.S. I feel so proud and happy to say I have a wonderful girl waiting for me. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, the most dreadful thing happens to Dad. He receives a letter from Mom that is all stuck together. He makes the best of it by only reading the front and back pages. He does not want her to spend all her free time writing to him. He thinks he will have questions for his future kids asking if he ever saw Japs during the war. March 31, 1944. Hello, my sweet. The most dreadful thing happened. I never knew it could happen to us, but it did. I received a letter from you and all the pages were stuck together. I was only able to read the front and back page. Even so, I'm always satisfied with everything I receive from you, whether it is long or short. Don't spend all your time on me. We will have at least 75 years together, and you might get sick of me. Yes, about 50 years from now, I'll be telling our kids how I went overseas to fight the Japs, but I never saw one face to face. I did see some Jap planes, but only from far away. Yours always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront from New Guinea, Dad is excited as he informs Mom that his company has their own radio station. A lonely warrant officer arranged for this benefit. Dad says he is a swell egg. He describes the girl's area, which is fenced in by wire to keep the wolves away. April 1, 1944. My darling pinup girl. It is April Fool's Day, so I feel right at home in this great little shack in the jungle. My radio is blaring like I'm hard of hearing. Our neighbors like to hear our company's own jam session. Yes, we now have our own radio station. We can talk for about 2 hours and kick the Red Cross out. This makes our hearts jump with joy while we hold on to our tent pegs and have a picnic with bully beef, otherwise known as horse in disguise. The program accepts song requests, so we're getting phone calls. We own 150 records, so we play until we make ourselves homesick. This is due to a lonely warrant officer who is a swell egg. A Red Cross gal is announcing for us. You ought to see how the girls are fenced in by wire as they sleep. It's to keep the wolves away. I'm glad you received the rug for our bedroom. It's meant to keep your feet warm, but don't be afraid to step on it as I removed the sleeping snake from it before I sent it to you. Dancing in the dark sounds like fun. I'll be looking forward to our dances in the dark. I know we'll do lots of things by the light that shines from our hearts. Some boys have one girl to come home to, and it is their mom. I have everything because I have you. You are the only woman I could ever hope to love. Save a spot in your heart for me. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea, Dad wants Mom to keep her muscles in shape so they can go places and do things when he gets back to the States. He also wants to dance in the dark with her. April 3, 1944. Sweetheart of mine. 22 months is a long time to hold a secret. I can't hold one for more than 2 days. I'm getting to look and feel like sad sack each day. No, kidding aside, I have jungle in my bloodstream and you in my heart, of course. I'm letting you know I'll go Tarzan the moment we see a tree on one of our little walks in the country. Hun, my target is your heart. My mission is a little talk and a little walk. With you wearing a little ring. A little of everything and plenty of you. A little of you and lots of woo. Boy, can I really pitch it. You have no idea. Also, it would be great if we created a little Johnny as well. Remember, we have a day to go and do things, so keep your muscles in shape and don't let them drape. Don't worry about your hair, for I can't wait to run my fingers through it. I like it better when I push it around like I did in the past. Good night, my sweet. I wish I could reach over and hold you tight and really say good night. I'm yours, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea, Dad reiterates that he gets a big kick out of the local hometown newspaper. He tells Mom stories about how the war and its soldiers are portrayed in the paper. April 5, 1944. My darling, I got a big kick out of the local hometown newspaper. 3 boys were shown to have spent 27 months in the army in the States. It states, here are a few pictures of men at war from our district. While somewhere on the back page was a story about a fellow who just returned home from the war zone. He was only featured in 10 lines on the black page saying, here's one of our men in the service. This goes to show you people don't know the score about things. In fact, if I said something about the bloody battles fought around New Guinea, most people would say they never heard of the place. While I have been away or at dances, I had girls who literally threw themselves at me. It didn't mean a thing to me, for I've got my one and only back home waiting for me. Hun, I'll always leave the front door of my heart open for you. Keep your lonesome self for me, and no matter how lonesome you feel, your Johnny is even worse. As always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front sending magazines from New Guinea, Dad is happy sending Mom a bracelet he made for her and asks if she has been getting his Yank newspapers. He reports that the Japs are on the run and our soldiers are close behind. April 7, 1944. My darling Mary, today I'm sending you a bracelet which I made special for you. I think it might be a little too big, for it is 1/4 inch larger than the one I sent you before. Let me know how much bigger it is so I can make one that really fits you. Use your calipers to measure down to the 1/100th of an inch to be sure it's correct. If you wish to polish the bracelet, Use tooth powder. You know, the kind you use on your false teeth. Of course, if it's too big, you could go native and wear it around your leg. As summer is just around the corner, you should be ready to put on your shorts and give the boys a peek. Woo-hoo! Have you been getting the Yank newspapers? I think I sent about 35 to them to you so far. Be sure to save them so I can tell you and show you some of the scenes in it that happened where I was located at the time. Mail has been poorly received here and it will get even worse. The Japs are on the run, and our soldiers are close behind them. Places such as Australia and parts of New Guinea aren't very important anymore. Well, kid, I have spoken enough. Be sure to think of me often as I do of you. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea, Dad is amused by Mom's reply regarding the grass skirt. Dad is delighted when he receives the large picture of her in a bathing suit. April 13, 1944. My little hula hula girl. I'm still laughing about the way you answered my question regarding the grass skirt. Let me know if you feel the same about it when you receive it. Oh, I torture myself when I think about how wonderful it will feel to hold you in my arms. Gaze into those eyes, kiss those warm, soft lips, run my hands through your hair, and finally hold you close to my heart. I was surprised to get the large picture of you in a bathing suit, and I loved it. Va-va-voom! Your figure is an eyeful. I know you keep my picture under your pillow. It has spent so much time there, and I wish it could talk. I bet I'd hear plenty, for it goes with you even to the tub. I wonder if that picture blushed. So, my love, I live for the day I can see you running toward me with your arms wide open. I'll give you a long kiss. I'll make you so breathless you couldn't say, "Stop, Johnny," even if you wanted to tell me. Would you really want me to stop? All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea, it is very quiet now and Dad feels like a commando for a graveyard. He is reminiscing about how he and Mom would sit in the car and listen to the radio. He also enjoyed having her lean on his shoulder. April 14, 1944. Hello, sweet one. How is my heartbeat these days? All is quiet here and I feel like I'm a commando for a graveyard. I am still happy to see my sweater girl and pinup. I don't go to bed hungry for food. However, I still have that empty feeling in my heart. Are you ready to fill up my heart? I always lay back in bed just thinking of what I would like to do when I arrive in your backyard. Hun, I'm telling you there's so much I want to do with you. We can really step out and do things up in real style. The best of all were those sessions we had sitting in my car with the radio playing. I really was in heaven with you leaning against me. I would kiss you and say, I just can't go home yet. Then I would imagine a few thousand more kisses just like that one. Make sure you saved me a few million for you owe me so many. Lots of love, your sweetheart Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea. Dad is amazed by the letter he received from Mom, where she told him a million things using only a few words. He read the prayer she wrote, and it answers everything for him. Now he understands her so much better. April 15, 1944. Dearest Mary, boy, I never knew a girl could write a letter like you did. You told me a million things in it using only a few words. That prayer you told me answers everything for me. I understand you so much better now. Love is so hard spending all this time away from you. I get sick thinking about it, for I can't get you off my mind. I would never have been so straight to the point had I not felt you and I are in love and meant to be together. Love is such a funny thing. One day you are happy and the next day you are blue. I know this will change to permanent happiness when we are back together in each other's arms. Darling, you are tops with me. Many of the boys tease me because they lost their girls in less than a year. As long as you're with me, I'll be the happy Johnny you know and love. I'm just starting to live. It took you to make me realize love feels like the most wonderful feeling in the world. Sweetheart, sleep right. Sleep tight and keep your tears of sorrow away. Use only tears of joy. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea. So many screwy things have happened around Dad's camp. He discusses them with Mom, but cannot figure out what they mean, which leaves him scratching his head for answers. The natives like to eat chicken heads, old meat, and corn willy. April 16, 1944. My darling pinup girl. I'm telling you now, you're the first girl I have ever called sweetheart and the last one as well. I am roped, and if you think I want to get away, just hold on tight for you're going with me. So many screwy things happen around here. A guy fixed a broken watch. When he was done, he still had 5 parts left over. The watch works better now than it did before. Another fellow has a pipe that looks like a coil. It's a long pipe hooked onto his regular pipe, and it makes a complete circle around his neck. The natives who work outside the mess hall always have a big feast of chicken heads, old meat, and corn willy. I can't wait to be able to sit across from you and share a good meal. Hun, when I come home, I won't need a moon or stars. Why should I look at them when I have heaven in my arms and not a care in the world? I know I will have plenty of love and charm all wrapped up in one bundle. What a bundle. Woohoo. With lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad hears and sees so much monkey business going on behind husbands' and wives' backs. He says the boys are cutting down large trees so that if they fall, they won't damage anything, namely Dad's big little tent. April 20, 1944. Dear honey, I've got my big flat feet propped up in bed while writing to you. I'm telling you, hun, this war has caused many people to change. There's so much monkey business going on behind husbands' and wives' backs. That is the case over here, just as much as in the States, if not more. We've been cutting down large trees. One was 80 feet high and a few feet around. This tree looked bad because the termites made a meal out of it, so it had to be chopped down. My big little tent was right in line with it. We had cable wires pulling to one side. However, it did land right on my tent. Luckily, I was prepared, for I had removed all my important things. When it crashed on my apartment, it just crushed the tent. Fortunately, I only had to replace 3 10-foot boards, and I ended up with the same tent without even a hole. We all shared a big laugh out of the situation. We did have an accident happen when a tree fell, so we didn't want to take any chances. Now I can sleep with both eyes closed. Keep your spirits up, my little one. Love and stuff, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, gambling in New Guinea. Dad finds out it doesn't pay to gamble one's money on horses. He informs Mom about the custom of going to horse races on a Sunday afternoon. However, he finds this practice silly because parents do not allow their daughters to attend a dance or a movie on Sunday night. It makes no sense to him. He is thrilled to report his food situation has improved and he has eaten rabbit, steak, chicken, and mutton all in 1 week. For dessert, they serve apple tarts. He tells Mom not to worry about her cooking skills as he ain't fuzzy and will eat anything. April 22, 1944. Dearest honey, I went to a horse race this afternoon and won a big fortune. I placed a bet costing $1.53 on a horse, and when he won, I collected a grand total of 42 cents. I did all that sweating and blowing my big mouth off for that. All I could say was at least my horse won the race. The Aussies really go crazy for horse races. They wouldn't think anything of going to a horse race on a Sunday afternoon. However, should their daughter want to go to a movie or a dance on a Sunday night, it is forbidden. Consequently, we didn't have a dance on Sunday, but we had a show for us boys only. No babes allowed. This doesn't exist in the southern part of Aussie land, where the people there are more modern thinking and really in the groove. Our food situation has improved. We had rabbit, steak, chicken, and mutton all in 1 week. We were able to eat all we wanted plus the fancy stuff like apple tarts. Don't believe the Jap radio saying that we are being starved. It's a funny thing about food in the army. Some boys say, "Boy, that meal was no good," or "What awful food." Yet, if they ate the same thing in Sydney, they would think it was very good. Sydney is a big furlough city. So, you see, hun, it's all in the mind. I guess I can eat anything and be satisfied, so don't feel the need to study cooking, for I ain't fuzzy. However, by all means don't ever change my favorite dessert, which is ice cream, for I love it so much the way it is. Honey, if there's anything you want real bad, I wish you would tell me so I can get it for you. Make sure you say hello to your mom and pop and the rest of the family. I think I have just about talked my ink pen to death. I'll close for now, giving you time to recover from this mess. Love always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad thanks Mom for the palm cross he received in her letter of April 2, 1944. He tells her that wherever the Army goes, there is always a church service even close to the front lines. Dad relays the information that the planes and ships are being utilized for more important things rather than to deliver mail. April 24, 1944. My darling Mary, I received your letter of April 2, 1944 with a palm cross in it. Thanks, hon. It was very nice of you to send it to me. Yes, no matter where the Army takes you, there is always mass even very close to the front lines. There are no palm crosses here, but they hold as many masses as you have at home. I admit I haven't been going too often. Yes, my sweet, it will be swell to go to church with you. I will be proud to be seen with you anywhere. I mean that, honey. Okay, you say you didn't get any mail from me for a whole week. Well, kid, you listen to the radio and read the newspapers. The planes and ships are being used for more important things. Remember, I write 1 page a day, so just keep that pretty face smiling and don't worry. It's funny the way we carry on telling each other not to worry, and yet we both worry anyway. I am happy even though we are so many miles apart. So long, my sweet one. Love always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad assures Mom that there isn't a thing in the world more important to him than her. He says he would like to come home to a nice, fresh wife dressed in a cute house dress. May 4, 1944. My dearest Mary, today I got your letter of April 23, 1944. I can't understand it. With so much to do on your day off, you torture yourself by writing to me with my picture in front of you. Don't you ever waste your breath asking me if you will be mine always. I do want to be with you, and there isn't a thing in the world I need more than just sweet you. Haven't I proved that to you yet? If you think you're not going to retire after we are married, you better start thinking differently. I want to come home to a nice, fresh wife, all dressed up in a cute house dress, and have my meal on the table in a nice fashion. I feel like Sweet 16 just because you look that way. Now isn't that better than getting home the same time as your husband and having a mad rush to cook something for dinner? What an awful sweet mess we have with each other's heart. Well, hun, I'm going off to the mess hall. Grr. I could eat anything because I'm as hungry as a wolf. Love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad makes a hilarious remark to Mom regarding their false teeth and their wooden legs. He wants to know if she threw in any hops for him at the last dance she attended. May 9, 1944. My little Mary. Yes, hun, our first night together after our little trip down the aisle will be one we will never forget. We will be careful to keep our little foot rug clean. I'll never take off my shoes and park them under the bed. I'm still waiting for my false teeth to come. Think about it. We can place our teeth side by side on the dresser. Of course, our wooden legs would fit under the bed. Then we will be all set for our pillow fight. You frighten me the way you say I will be kissed like I have never been kissed before. Maybe I better stay away. You sound dangerous, and I'm the guy who knows about it. Did you throw in a few hops for me at the last dance? You didn't throw your leg out of joint, did you? I am still the same old Johnny. I am happy, healthy, and is still very much in love. I miss you and love you so much, sweetheart. Love always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad cannot believe how his relationship with Mom has grown. He would like to help her more by contributing household items to her hope chest. He is getting ready to welcome a little boy with his black hair and any other children that may pop out. May 10, 1944. My darling Mary, today I received your letter of April 11, 1944, and I sure got a kick out of it. You are so sweet to me. What you have done to me in just 3 months cannot be described in 10 books. I want to do so much for you, but it is impossible from where I'm located. That's not only giving you attention or love, We could be filling up your hope chest. I hope you will be ready for the little boy with my black hair when he arrives in the future. I know I am ready for him and any others that may pop out. Love and more love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad missed Mom terribly this past week as he went to the movies and saw some steamy love scenes. When he listens to his radio, the Japs put a scrambler code on the same station to prevent our boys from hearing the correct information. May 11, 1944. Dear Sweet Mary, oh how I missed you this past week. Sometimes I go to the movies and what happens? I feel worse because I see steamy love scenes. Gosh, honey, I really have some days when I am in bad shape. Don't you dare stop writing to me. Your letters really keep me going. It could be a dark and dismal day in the jungle, and after I read one of your letters, the sun shines in my heart. I'm listening to my radio. Every time I hear the news being broadcasted, the Japs put a scrambler code right on the same station to try to prevent us from hearing the real news. Remember how I used to tell you to get closer to me while I was driving? I doubt if I ever have to ask you that again. I love the way we feel about each other. Well, dearest, I have rambled on an awful lot and told you very little news. I had fun talking about things we feel about each other so much. I am closing with all my heart's love to you. Lots of love stuff, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, the radio station the guys are running is getting more popular each day and does contribute a long way to better morale. Dad is trying to make some sense about ranks in the army, but he can't understand it. He says that's the army for you. May 12, 1944. My darling Mary, I am sending along some more Yank newspapers. After reading these newspapers, a lot of lonely boys dream about waking up in the morning and finding a whack in their tent. I can say I'm not one of them, for I'm yours and that's final. Our radio station is getting more popular each day during our 2-hour request program. It looks like most of us will be rewarded for our faithful overseas service. Here is what the Army is going to do for us as things look now. We're going to have the great thrill of seeing a Jeep straight from the States come into our company. This Jeep will have very high ratings, thus preventing any one of us from getting any higher up the ladder. Figuratively speaking, the fellow who would take my place, should they decide to send me home, will have at least 2 times as much rank as me, yet no one in our company can do a thing about it. It makes no sense, but that's the Army for you. Only one high-ranking USO commando coming into a department prevents 6 boys from getting 1 rank higher, as no spot will be open. Now, hon, you see what I'm up against. I can't return to you with a high rank like all those homeboys do it. I'm the forgotten man. I know what your answer will be, but I feel differently about the situation. I still have you, and as long as I rank 1A with you, that is all that matters. My commanding officer came over on the same boat, and he is doing his best for us, but the higher-up have blocked him. Mail is still painfully slow, however. I know you are by me always. Please keep your heart warm for me. Love and kisses, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad excitedly relays all the places he has visited now that he is permitted to share this information. He has had and is continuing to have a great adventure in his life. He describes jumping in trenches when Jap planes are flying overhead. May 14, 1944. My dearest Mary, I can now tell you some of the places I have visited since I landed here. The regulations are not as strict as they were originally. In Australia, I have visited Brisbane, Mackay, Townsville, Charter Towers, and Ingham, all in Queensland. In New Guinea, I visited the battlefields of Brenia and Sananada of Boona. Also included is Oro Bay and Port Moresby. I have flown over the Owen Stanley Range, where the Japs were pushed when they tried to get into Port Moresby. I also flew over the Coral Sea, where a great naval battle occurred. I expect to visit more of these places one of these days. Enclosed is a picture of a battle area in Boona. It shows how tops of trees were shot off by shellfire. At Boona, I went to the famous war cemetery where so many Americans are buried. They have an Aussie cemetery, and both cemeteries are maintained. I witnessed a war burial where an Aussie was killed by a dive bombing courtesy of the Japs. I've had to jump into a trench a couple of times because Jap planes are flying. because jet planes were flying overhead. It was at night, but luckily the Japs didn't see me or cause damage. Queensland isn't the best part of Australia. I understand Melbourne and Sydney, as well as some of the southern cities, are the best. However, I have not had an opportunity to visit them. They are the most modern. Brisbane is similar to Newark, New Jersey. However, it seems different because Aussies are there. There's none of that modern design stuff. We seem to be the forgotten men. It is very disappointing, but what can we do about it? It's beyond me how men in the army for 30 years make it their career. My only happiness is you. Someday I'll tell you and show you in person what I mean. As long as I have you, I will have happy moments. I'm closing for now. With all my love and kisses, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad asks Mom if she is enjoying the hit songs. Of course, he likes to listen to them as well, but it is not the same without Mom by his side. He jokes with her, saying, "Do you realize you will have to introduce my feet to yours again so we can dance together?" May 16, 1944. My darling Mary, I'm back again in a flash with some more trash. Summer must be knocking on your front gate now instead of me. Make sure you send me a picture of how you look in your bathing suit. Honey, aren't the songs swell these jungle days? All I can do is listen to love songs, but I would rather be in the arms of my sweet Mary. I know the songs would sound so much better then. I have a joke for you. Did you hear what Mussolini said to the German people? He told them he was going to be put on public display and admission would be charged to see him. I heard he was to be put in with the monkeys in the Bronx Zoo in New York and shown free. Of course, the monkeys would object. Do you realize that you will have to introduce my feet to yours again? I only know the jungle hop and a few native dances. Some of these dances occur only in the presence of babes who are dressed in almost nothing. That's out for me. I have been studying on how to make the little boy with black hair and I feel I can arrange it with no problem. Ha ha! Well, kid, I must be getting to bed for I have a date with a pillow on my bed. I always see you in my dreams and I hope you see me as well. Lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, there is encouraging war news being broadcasted about the European War. Dad loves to talk about musical numbers and dancing in his letters. Mail is being received at a snail's pace. Dad is trying to figure out the Army's policy for sending guys home. March 17, 1944. My dearest Mary, how is the world treating you? Are you enjoying my sugar reports? I sure would like to put my big feet under your kitchen table and let you serve me a nice big dinner. Yum! Of course, the usual dessert I get from you will do very nicely. Isn't the news from Europe encouraging? I hope things start popping soon. I bet some of the hit parade numbers you hear are swell for dancing. I miss my workouts on the dance floor with you. I haven't trampled your feet for such a long time. You'll have to teach me to dance again and other things. I'm living in a different world over here. I've been sending you the Guinea Gold newspapers when I see something of interest in them. However, I do prefer the Yank newspaper more, don't you? I hope you also like this Yank a little too. Well, kid, I must be closing now. I'll always be yours if you want me that way. I sure do want that too. Love and sweet memories, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad helps sort 400 letters, but doesn't find any for him. He's not sure how the Army handles sending men home. He says he heard some guys went home for 60 days and then got sent back overseas. Dad discusses how to prevent malaria and says he may have to keep taking the little yellow pills for quite a while to prevent it. He and the boys observe the natives' custom of gazing at themselves in the mirror and enhancing the color of their teeth by mixing and eating 3 kinds of wild fruit. May 20, 1944. Dearest one, well, it is pouring cats and dogs outside. A bunch of us are watching a big tree. Every time it rains, a few trees fall. Everyone comes running when they hear just one crack of a branch. Mail continues to be awful as usual. Long time no hear from my one and only. I just finished sorting 400 letters and not a single one for me. Darn it! You bad girl. I'll forgive you though, honest hon. Honey, maybe the sending home business isn't very good. Some men get sent home to the States for only 60 days, and then get sent back overseas again. That's awful because there are so many men who haven't been overseas even once. We heard of a fellow who was sent home, and he developed malaria the second day. If and when I do come home, I'll have to keep taking those little yellow pills. I should take them for a while as they're used to prevent malaria from taking over. I might have some symptoms of it. However, I'm not concerned because I'm taking the drug. It's harmless because the dye was invented by the Germans. Of course, I might look a little yellow in the face. If you can put up with this mug of mine, I'm sure a little yellow coloring would make any difference. You ought to see the way these natives look at themselves in their mirrors and play around with their hair. No kidding, they do this more often than you would in a day. They eat 3 kinds of wild fruit. When they mix these 3 fruits together, it makes their teeth red. This makes them very happy. Rumor has it that beer is on its way, but I'll have to see it to believe it. In fact, I'm not going to believe anything in the army anymore unless I see it. I haven't changed a bit. I'm still your victim. Give all my love to the girl you see in the mirror, and be sure to give her a nice big smackaroo. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad continues to wait for the mail. He suggests a carrier pigeon might do a better job of delivering mail. Mom has informed him that the meat ration has been lifted. Dad thinks everyone will make up for lost time by gorging on meat. He hopes the gas rationing situation is fixed before he comes home. May 22, 1944. Hello, my sweetheart. Boy, have I been sweating out the mail deliveries this past week, but it didn't do any good. I guess I'll have to send out a carrier pigeon and hope he can deliver the sugar reports faster. I see the meat ration has been lifted for a while. I bet everyone is making up for lost time. I do hope the gas business is fixed before I get home. It will be very hard on me not to come to see you every day. However, even if I have to use a bicycle, I'll get there. The Japs and the Germans sure are nervous in the service these days. I wouldn't be surprised if I got to see the Philippines before I come home. Our troops are about 1,100 miles away as compared to 3,000 miles away in the beginning. The infantry boys are not having any fun. They are required to be fully dressed, wear leggings, and salute everyone all over the place and all the time. In the Army Air Corps, we walk around with less clothing. The suntanned native babes give the infantry boys a snooty attitude. They don't deserve this as they really go through a lot. Well, hun, I put you through a lot just reading this letter, so I'll close now. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Mom receives a large picture of Dad and the boys in his unit. He also sent her some money to celebrate their 2-year anniversary away from each other. He wants her to buy a new dress, hat, or use it to get her hair done at the beauty parlor. May 25, 1944. My darling Mary. Enclosed, you will find a money order for $20. It is my present to you for our anniversary. I have been away for you for 2 years now, and it feels like much more than that. Now don't try to send it back, for I can't cash it anyway. I want you to go out and buy yourself a nice dress, a new hat, or get a permanent wave. I hope it is enough to get anything you want. After you do this, please write and tell me how pretty you look and what you bought. I will be very happy to hear from you. It took me 3 days for my spare time to earn it. You will see the ashtray and airplane I made to earn the money. I'll be sending you one as soon as I finish making it for you. Honey, I hope you don't think it's not proper, for if you do, I'd feel very unhappy. I do make a lot of extra money here for very little labor. Remember, there isn't a thing in this world I wouldn't do for you. I hope the Mother's Day card got through the mail to your mom. I think my mom got hers already. I mailed both cards the same day, so they should have reached both places at approximately the same time. Honey, you're really lucky because I have saved my money for you. I am filled with love and pep and plenty of things that are a military secret to me. Now, wouldn't you like to know? Keep your chin up and let me know how beautiful you look after you spend the money order on something for yourself. Love and all the sort of nice stuff. Your guy, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Front in New Guinea, Dad has been camped out in New Guinea or Australia all this year. He analyzes the similar ways both he and Mom have been raised. He still sends money to his mom and dad. However, A portion of his salary is being saved for his future with his sweet Mary. May 29, 1944. My darling Mary. In this letter, I'm going to tell you a few things about the man you are going to marry. I come from a poor family just like you. We take care of our own property and the taxes are paid. Our cars are fully paid off as well. All this was made possible by my brother Walter and me. Everything was paid off about 3 weeks before I left for the army. When I got my furlough in the States, I worked 12 days out of the 14 just so I could make a little money to take along with me when I entered the army. I had $50 to my name. I did, however, own my car. I left some money for my mom and dad so they would be on even terms. I decided to help them a little and at the same time save money for myself. One day before I sailed overseas, I wired myself some money. It finally reached me 2 months later. During the past 20 months, I've been sending $20 a month to my mom and dad to help them along. My army salary is about $80 a month. Out of this total, I have $16.60 taken out each month for insurance. Also $18.75 for a bond I never see, as it is automatically taken out and then sent home. I have the rest of my savings and soldiers' deposits. This is a bank in the army, and the only way to get money out is for a reason such as sickness in the family or for marriage. I have never gambled the whole time I've been in the army. Well, honey, this will give you a general idea what a poor man in love can do if he finds the right girl. I owe all my happiness and success to you, my sweetheart. I owe all my happiness and success to you, sweetheart. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea. Dad tells Mom he's been keeping company with a bunch of infantrymen who served in the Battle of Buna Sananda. He enjoys hearing stories of their adventures. They tell him about the hospital the Japs captured and how the nurses surrendered and the Japs were pushed into the sea. June 6, 1944. My darling sweet one. This week I have been keeping company with a bunch of Aussie infantrymen. They were in the Battle of Buna Sananda. Here are some stories they told me. One time the Japs made a raid by plane over them. They must have dropped their garbage for down came lots of bottles and tin cans. They were used to make the noise like bombs exploding. Before they hit land, they whistle. When the Japs landed, they were half drunk and each one had some kind of brew but no food. There were several bodies found that looked like the Japs cut out parts of them and ate them. They told me about the hospital the Japs captured. The place was surrounded, but the nurses and men would not surrender. They were given 5 chances to give up, and then the place was rushed. In a few minutes, the girls came running out and shouted, Me girl, don't shoot! They had their breasts showing out of their dresses so the Jap soldiers would believe them. Finally, the Japs were pushed into the sea. A lot of them waded out in the water and pulled the pins out of hand grenades to blow themselves up. The prisoners that were taken didn't have the slightest idea where they were. Many of them died due to malaria because they wore shorts and didn't take any medicine. The fellows who told me this story were my age. They had been in the infantry for 4 years without a scratch. They said when one is in the jungle, some things were hard to find. There was tobacco but no matches, a desire to write a letter but there was no paper. What makes this interesting is the fact that I had visited these battlefields in the past. These boys turned out to be a swell bunch and would do anything for you. Well, sweet, these are only a few of the true stories I heard right from the men who witnessed them. Love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, hearing good war news in New Guinea. Dad expresses concern for Mom's mother who was sick on Mother's Day. He is encouraged to hear the good news of the Second Front when the U.S. invaded North Africa and Italy. Dad compares the 5th Air Force building in New Guinea to the Astoria Hotel in New York. He says some people in the States think the guys overseas are living in nice, tall buildings. However, the truth is they live in tents. June 8, 1944. My darling Mary, today I received 10 V letters or victory letters, all dated around May 23, 1944. What a girl. Darling, I feel so happy all over. I don't know where to start. I was sorry to hear that your mom was sick on Mother's Day. I hope she's better now. Did you hear the good news of the Second Front when the U.S. invaded North Africa and Italy? I hope everyone who celebrated at home realized for every beer they drank, 10 American boys lost their lives during the same time. Perhaps when news of some of the boys that were killed reaches their families, maybe people will finally be convinced that a war is being fought. 80% of the United States population don't believe it. I must tell you about a picture I saw. No kidding, the picture was called Joe Something. It was about the 5th Air Force in New Guinea. They showed a big fancy officers' club like the Astoria Hotel in New York. There were plenty of beautiful girls and all the drinks in the world. The building was painted and the furnishings were very fancy. Boy, if that wasn't the biggest fraud I have ever seen. People back home think it's that way here. All we have here is a lot of tents in the jungle. There are plenty of roads, and we count ourselves lucky if we get a little orange juice once in a while. Here's what a pilot told me about shooting Jap Zeros down. It's just like a girdle. One yank, and it's down. With all my heart, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad cleans his house or tent and finds a picture of himself in the grass skirt. He tells Mom he wasn't wearing any underwear under the skirt. He was terrified when his knife slipped down inside the skirt, narrowly missing his precious manhood. Dad sends her a ring and hopes she likes it. He sleeps all morning at times with rats that lick his apartment. He describes hamburgers made of rabbit and says kangaroo was tasty as well. June 15, 1944. My darling woman, I just finished cleaning house, and I sure had a lot of your letters scattered all over the place. After I had a final peek at them, I stored them safely away with the others. I finally found the picture of me in the grass skirt. I thought I sent 2 of them to you. Do you remember? Now about that picture of me, I want you to know that the grass skirt was the only thing I had on at the time. If you look closely, you will see a knife handle. The knife was as sharp as a razor, and while the grass skirt picture was being taken, it slipped down inside the skirt. This really scared me because I almost cut off something precious, and I don't mean perhaps. Please don't worry if you aren't getting my mail regularly, for there are many reasons. It just isn't coming through quickly. At one time, our mail stayed at our post office and took a nap for about 10 days due to bad weather or no transportation. Then it had to travel to another place to be sorted, so that takes time. Then it might get on a slow ship to the States that also causes delays. Airmail doesn't always travel by air to the States. Enclosed is the ring I promised to send you. I hope you like it. Tomorrow is my day off, so I can stay up late. I can sleep all morning along with a few rats that like my apartment as well. One day a rat dragged my Reader's Digest about 10 feet away, so I decided to set a trap for him. No more problems with him. I might give him to the natives, for they say rats taste like hamburger. Speaking of hamburgers, we had some very good ones yesterday made of rabbit. We get rabbits once in a while, and kangaroos, both of which are tasty. Well, dear one, I must stop for now because I have a date with my pillow. Love and stuff, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom misses Dad terribly, but says she's willing to wait for him, and it will be heaven when they get together again. June 19, 1944. My dearest Johnny, I thought you might like this poem about Hitler and the devil. Hitler called up the devil on the telephone one day. Hello, was Hitler speaking. Is old man Satan home? Just tell him it's Der Fuhrer who wants him on the phone. The devil said, Howdy, Adolf. Hitler said, How are you? I'm running your show on Earth, so tell me what to do. What can I do? The devil said, Dear old pal of mine. You don't need any help from me. You're doing mighty fine. Yes, I was doing fairly well until some time ago, when a man called Uncle Sam told me to go slow. He said to me, Hitler, we don't want to be unkind, but you've raised enough Cain, so you better change your mind. I thought democracy was a bluff, and he'd never make it so. He soon had put me on the spot and told me where to go. That's why I called you, Satan. I need advice from you, for I know you can tell me exactly what to do. Satan said, Dear partner, there is not much left to say. The United Nations will make it hotter than I can any day. I'll be ready for your coming, and I'll keep the fires all bright. I'll get your room all ready, 'cause you know you lose your fight. Yes, I know your days are numbered. You'll soon be all washed up. So hang up the phone, put on your hat, and come on down with me. I thought you would find this poem interesting. Take care of yourself for me. All my love, Mary. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom receives a special ring and a nice ashtray that Dad made for her. Now she can't wait to get a hope chest to save some household items for them when they marry. June 23, 1944. My honey, you surprised me in so many wonderful ways when you sent me such lovely gifts like the ring you made me with 2 hearts on it and also the nice ashtray. Now I can't wait to get myself a hope chest for our little home. I'll be so proud to show my friends the gifts from you then. This was a short, busy week. I hardly know where the days have gone. I know that last Sunday I wrote you a long letter, and then Monday evening I got so excited about receiving your 8 letters all at one time. Then Wednesday I received another one, making it 9 letters altogether this week. Lovingly, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad reminds Mom that all V letters are photographed, so she should be careful what she writes in them. He says only the V letters not written in dark ink cannot be photographed. June 27, 1944. My darling, if you want to picture me, try turning off lights. I'm sure it would be much easier for you to have me around because my face wouldn't be scaring you into doing things. I don't know if you remember, but all V letters are photographed, so you must be careful what you write on them. The only ones that aren't photographed are those written with light ink. How is my better half? Do you still love me a little? I hope my letters are interesting to you. I try my best to make each one different. I should be more up to date on my letter writing to others. But the words don't come out like they do for your letters. I miss that close-quarter love stuff, don't you? I would enjoy plenty of that love stuff that I ain't been getting for the past 2 years. My wish is to hold you in my arms, but right now, I can only do this in my dreams. Love and all my kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad was happy to receive 2 of Mom's sugar-coated reports. He thinks the bracelet he sent her was stolen for packages are open to see if any government property is being sent home. He is thankful and optimistic, looking forward to acquire such a swell mother-in-law and father-in-law. He is amused when Mom tells him how much her bus driver looks like him. July 1, 1944. My darling Mary, today I received 2 of those sugar-coated reports and it's about time. I'm guessing the bracelet I sent you was stolen for they open all packages to see if any government property is being sent home. Yes, I'm sure I'll have a swell mother and father-in-law. Your mom and pop were born in the States, so I think this makes them more modern thinking. My mom and pop were born in Europe, so this is why they are old-fashioned in their ways. You thought the bus driver looked just like me. That's pretty interesting. Go easy, kid. You never know where I will show up, so I might be the bus driver. I must say any girl who can say I'm handsome must really be in love. Therefore, you got it good, and you have been stung by the love bug. Well, little woman, this old man has to close for now. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom has received many love letters. He also shows her his charm by sending her sister Jeannie a letter. He sent her a lovely bracelet and a cigarette case for her father. July 8, 1944. Hello, sweet one. How are you coming along? Darling, it has been such a busy week that I feel very tired, but not too tired to write to you. It was so kind of you to send a letter to Jeannie when you sent one to me. Now I have exactly 13 letters. In one of the letters, you explained how to put that ashtray and airplane together. Whenever you tell me you are sending me something, I can hardly wait to receive it. Honey, you should see the moon tonight. It reminds me of the song I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. That's one song that makes me want to crawl into your arms and stay there. Today I also received your lovely bracelet. I love it so very much. Daddy can't stop showing off his cigarette case. He keeps telling his friends about his soldier son from Australia. He is so proud of you. I like the other bracelet I received from you a long time ago, too. They are both made of silver coins, but are so different that I don't know which one I like better. The ring you made matches both bracelets beautifully. Darling, you treat me too good, even though I have received a package every month from you. The best package I am waiting for is you in person. All my love, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad informs Mom about the many couples who have been split up by the war. He tells Mom men that are coming home can now wear their overseas stripes. He says his company has a lot of radios to repair because they are able to get parts easily and quickly. July 11, 1944. Hello there, little woman of mine. How's my little lassie with a classy chassis? I read a story recently about this fellow who got some letters from his girl at home. First, her letter said, Dearest Bill, then My Dearest Bill. After a few months, it was Darling, then Sweetheart. Another letter said, Dear Bill, and finally, Dear Friend. You would be surprised how many cases are like this. I bet over 75% of single men in our company have lost their gals. Some guys think they have their sweethearts. Later, they receive a letter with P.S. at the bottom saying, I was married last week. I never knew I could have anything to say to you after 2 years' time. But I can see I can hold out for another 10 years. The men coming home now can wear overseas stripes. One is for each 6 months of service, so I'll have 4 of them on September 1, 1944. Boy, do we have a lot of radios in our company. Other people are envious of us because we can get radios and parts easily and quickly. Oh well, I guess this is enough for today, but I'll never have enough of you, my sweet one. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad feels like sad sack, and he looks like it. He explains how he thinks most people feel about the war. He tells Mom about Japs who don't give up as they feel honorable to die. July 12, 1944. My darling Mary, I am having another one of those exciting evenings. What I mean is, I have nothing to do. I had no mail today, which makes 3 days with no mail for anyone. I feel like Sad Sack and probably look like him. Most people think this war is a pushover here, and they don't pay much attention to it. It was announced that we lost about the same amount of men in Saipan, which is an island belonging to the Japanese, as we lost in the initial landings in France. It's tough to fight someone you can't see, even if he is 2 feet away. These Japs don't give up even when they are licked. They think it is honorable to die. A soldier in New Guinea doesn't have a town to visit after hours like those civilized places where war wages. Out of the 11 months I've spent in New Guinea, 1/2 of the time furloughs were frozen. Some of the time rest leaves to Mackay were not available. This covers all the dope for today, so I'll close for now. Your dreamer boy, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad sends Mom 2 native combs to help her with her hair trouble. He says he feels his handwriting looks a little better because he was finally able to get some American ink. He thinks of her every time he hears music. July 14, 1944. My dearest one, I have sent you 2 native combs to help you with your hair trouble. They were made by a well-educated native who is cleaner than a lot of people I know. I hope you will like using them. Did you ever receive the ring I made from a Jap Zero? Let me know how it fits with your dress and figure. Notice my handwriting looks a little better because I finally got some American ink. Aussie ink is so thin it is like water. Have you been behaving yourself? Out here in the jungle, I don't have much choice, so I take life as it comes day by day. Honey, every time I hear music, I think of dancing with you. Boy, how I miss that. I haven't had the pleasure of stepping on your feet for such a long time. Well, this is today's chapter of Jungle Johnny's life without a wife. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom tells Dad her new address. She wants him to stop teasing her about her false teeth. July 16, 1944. My darling Johnny, today I decided to write and tell you that we now have a mailbox of our own at the post office. Now my address is Miss Mary C. Redgick, North 13th Avenue, P.O. Box number 255, Manville, New Jersey. You see, there are so many people with my same last name that the postmen get the letters all mixed together. You say you saw the picture called Sweater Girl. I'll just have to get a sweater for myself and have someone take a picture of me to send to you. You asked me about my teeth. I don't know how I ever walked around with my old set. These new ones are swell. Another thing, Johnny. Will you stop teasing me about them for crying out loud? You just wait until you get home so I can tease you as well. So long, monkey. Love, your future sweater girl, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is surprised to get 2 regular letters and 12 V letters all at one time. He plans to send his mom a grant to put in the bank for him. Dad is now the last corporal in radio repair who is an old-timer. He tells Mom to go to dances, but if she really wants to stay home and write letters, he will not argue with that. July 16, 1944. My darling Mary, boy did I receive a surprise today. I got 2 regular letters and 12 V letters. I was in heaven. I found out there's no risk sending any money orders home. I expect to send a grand this month to my mom so she can put it in a local bank. I always keep the receipts of all my money orders so I can collect them if any get lost. Finally, our big headquarters permitted our local headquarters to give out some ratings. Now I am the last corporal in radio repair who is an old-timer. I have the same amount of time as 70% of the men who are waiting to go home. Darling, you sure are something. You're always wondering if I really mean what I am doing or saying to you. Honey, haven't I told you I play for keeps? I'd never tell you one thing and mean another. How could anyone be so cruel as to tell a girl he loves her and yet not mean what he says? You're the first girl I ever fell in love with completely. I did think I liked some girls before, but never liked my love for you. Honey, I wish you wouldn't stay home for dances just to write to me. However, if it makes you happier to stay home and write, I certainly cannot argue with that decision. Well, dearest one, I have many letters to answer, and I don't know where to start. I would really rather start my future with you in person. So long, sweetheart. Love and many kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad's happy to report he has gotten a new Eversharp fountain pen so Mom does not have to get him a new point for his old pen. He was also able to get a waterproof watch. July 17, 1944. My dearest Mary, I didn't mean to get you excited when I had that fellow address my letter for me. When I want to know how you act or feel, I just shut my eyes and say, now how would I act if I were Mary and loved Johnny the way he loves Mary? It works every time. I got myself a good fountain pen. It's an Eversharp, so don't worry about getting me a point for the old pen. A boy who was going home sold it to me. I also got a waterproof watch, so I'm fixed up for a while. I remember how we used to walk down the street together. Every 100 yards, I wanted to kiss you, but I didn't want to scare you. I also remember how the store manager said, "Whose car is that with the faraway plates?" Then he said, "That guy must really love that girl to be willing to travel so far." Loving you, your sweetheart Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Mom asked Dad a serious question, so he is now repeating why he fell in love and what he finds so attractive with her. He praises her for being honest and not trying to make him think she is an angel like other girls try to do with him. July 18, 1944. My only one. You asked me a very serious question, so hold on tight while I tell you why I fell in love with you. I will tell you how I know I'm still in love with you, even though I haven't seen you for 24 months and 9 days. You are the first girl that filled that empty feeling inside of me with love. I like the way you fuss with your hair, and the way you cling so close to me. I could spend the whole evening with you, not even talk much and yet feel like I'm in heaven. You're also the first girl that made me fight for her love. I had to practically hit you on the head before I could find out how you felt about me. You are the kind of girl who wouldn't hesitate a moment to slug me over the head with a rolling pin and then hold me in your arms crying your heart out, hoping you didn't hurt me so much. When I'm out with you, I don't feel I'm with a girl who's innocent and doesn't know the answers. You never try to make me feel like you are an angel like so many other girls try to make you believe. Everyone wonders how I can feel happy, yet discouraged about a lot of things. I also like the honest way you talk to me in your letters. You are the first girl that makes me feel like being a bad boy. And yet, something inside is telling me no, not like that, Johnny. I see a girl who can act young and carefree, and yet know how to be sensible about things. Your memory of the little things in life shows me that everything has a meaning to you and affects you. You don't try to dress up like a rich girl with a lot of face paint. Nothing or no one will ever mean more to me than sweet you. With all my love, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad says he thinks Mom waited for him to pour his heart out before she would tell him how she feels about their relationship. He says he's sort of wild from living in the jungle. July 22, 1944. My dear woman, Hun, you must admit you were beating around the bush when you told me how much I mean to you in our first few letters. I realize now that you really wanted me to pour my heart out and tell you how much I love you and what you mean to me. Did you hear the one that goes like this? Why does a woman have a waistline? It's so she can hang her figure on it. I realize I'm sort of wild from being in this jungle. Do you think you will be able to handle me when I get back home? I expect to go swimming this afternoon. Of course, I'll be a good boy with the mermaids. It doesn't seem right for me to go swimming alone without your curves and waves beside me. Oh, darling, I get such a big kick out of handling you this way and teasing you in my letters. But it would be so much better in person. Give my love to your mom and pop and the rest of the family. So long, sweetheart. Lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is so excited because he received a second batch of pinup pictures. He tells Mom these pictures are done so men can see the reason they are fighting. He says people in the States are lucky for they never had to experience a bomb alert. July 23, 1944. My dearest Mary, I received your second batch of pinup pictures today. Did you know the reason pinup girls have such little outfits on? It is done so the men can see better what they are fighting for in this war. Woohoo! It looks like the war in Europe will be over before the end of the year. Our whole naval fleet is in this war for Adolf has no fleet left. He isn't interested in military secrets anymore. All he cares about now is where the hell he can live after this war ends. People back home in the States are lucky for they never had to run to a bomb shelter or hear a bomb striking a target. If you only knew how much money is used to run and supply a little company like mine, you would be able to see how those big bosses of the factories in the States make money. This ends today's issue of my report card. I hope it rates an A with you, sweetheart. You will always be 1A in my life. So long for now, monkey. Love and lots of kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is getting ice cream at the usual coffee hour. He says it was his first dessert in 5 months. He is looking forward to a time when he can take Mom out to a fancy place and have a nice meal. He also wants to take her to what he calls an outdoor movie or drive-in movie. He thinks he should trade in his rattletrap of a car and replace it with a baby carriage. He sends his letter using a cool army envelope with a war scene on it. July 24, 1944. My darling Mary, I got a big surprise this evening. I went down for my usual cup of coffee, and much to my delight, we had ice cream. It was my first in 5 months, and it sure hit the spot. Hun, I haven't had a drink of water that didn't contain chlorine in it for almost 2 years now. Chlorine makes it safe to drink, so I'm used to it now. Hun, I can hardly wait until we can go to some fancy places and have a nice meal with ice cream sodas, of course. We just have to go to that outdoor movie. Imagine a whole car seat just for the two of us. I could feel at home seeing a show with you in my car. I'd probably be looking at you more than the picture, but it would be heaven anyway. In the old days, I was breaking my neck trying to get to your house and hoping my car didn't break down. I sure was conscious of the old rattletrap. If you can put up with it, I guess I can as well. My darn rattletrap of a car does create problems. Always had trouble with a fuel pump. I think I should trade it in for a baby carriage. You used to get nervous and then I'd kiss you and you would relax and forget about it. That medicine is the cure for a lot of things. This is all for now, my sweetheart. Love to you, my sweet one, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is reminiscing about the first time he met Mom at a polka dance in Helmetta, New Jersey, and what he said to her. He notices tears in her eyes when he walked toward her after his induction into the Army. He tells her that the U.S. government will be offering loans over a 20-year time period with a very low interest. July 25, 1944. My darling Mary, I'm remembering our conversation the first time we met on the dance floor. I said, Mary, I've just made a startling conclusion. You said, what is it? Then I said, someday I'm going to marry you. Now, isn't that a funny thing to say on a first date? I never talked about marriage to anyone but you, and I surprised even myself by mentioning it. I'll never forget those tears in your eyes when I walked toward you after my induction. It was so cute the way you tried to hide them. It was then you made my heart beat so fast, I knew I wouldn't give up loving you. However, I'm afraid you'll have to teach me how to kiss. You realize it's been way too long since I had the pleasure of kissing you. You know, hon, the government is going to give loans to people over a 20-year time period with very low interest. If we are able to get that plus all the savings I will have, we should be able to pay for our little love nest. Be sure to save those lips and curves for me. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad sent Mom a package with 2 native combs, a book on Queensland, Australia, and a picture book about the Battle of Boona. In addition, there was also a book on the Fiji Islands. He asks her if she has had a chance to go swimming. He explains to her that in the jungle, he swims in his birthday suit. July 26, 1944. Dearest Mary, I sent you a package with 2 native combs, a book on Queensland, Australia, and a picture book of the Battle of Boona. There was a book of the Fiji Islands. I visited the capital city of Sunya. I'm hoping you received this package in good condition. Did you go swimming this year? I bet you look swell in a bathing suit. Out here in the jungle, I'm a native at heart, so I swim like Tarzan in my birthday suit. I feel funny with a pair of pants, socks, and shoes on. Oh well, I'll have to get used to civilization one of these days. I'm sure you can tame me down, for you know the secret to my weakness. My weakness is you, hon, and the cure is to have more of you around. It will be heaven when we finally get to spend our lives together. Lots of love, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad gets the score about the WACs from his friends. The men camp out in tents, but it's quite an expensive proposition to house the WACs in New Guinea. The WACs are housed in wooden barracks with perfect plumbing. Dad says the Australian Women's Army does not have fancy or expensive items. They are treated like the men, and they do a darn good job. July 30, 1944. My dearest Mary, today is the day our beer is here. I am eating pretzels and drinking my allotted 3 bottles of Budweiser beer. Of course, 3 bottles is just about enough to gargle in most of our throats. But it is better than nothing. Some of the boys who have passed through tell me a lot about the WACs. Yes, it's true that they say in most cases. Of course, the WACs in New Guinea have wooden barracks and perfect plumbing. In fact, their home in the States wasn't as nice and modern as the one in New Guinea. A tent is good enough for us men, but it's an expensive proposition to have the WACs over here. I figure one must pay at least 3 times above the cost of the average man. The average WAC can't do as much work as a man from the States. The Australian Women's Army doesn't enjoy glamour or fancy expensive items. They are treated just like the men, and they do a darn good job. Boy, it sure is raining hard outside. I can remember the rain we had when we walked home after the show. You ought to have seen the large handsome rat that came to visit me yesterday. He was as big as an average American cat. I wish you were here to see him so I could hold you close when you jumped and screamed. Well, my sweet one, I hope everything is just fine with you on these lonesome days and nights. You can do what I do, which is keep the picture of you nice and close. So long, sweetie. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is delighted to receive Mom's letter with his kiss print on it. He sends her a picture of some Jap equipment taken by infantrymen. Hun, you don't need to keep an extra copy of your letters, for I am saving them all. July 7, 1944. My darling Mary, today I received the letter with your kiss print on it. You know this will do for now, but it would be much sweeter in person. I have enclosed a picture of some Jap equipment taken from them by infantrymen. The flags are supposed to be good luck charms and are usually worn in the lining of a helmet. Add this to our collection of pictures. Be sure to save all of them so we can show them to our children someday. Keeping an extra copy of the letters you write to me is not necessary. I'm saving every letter in a safe place. Hun, I'll cut this short for now, for it's getting quite late. I sure miss those good night kisses from you, and I will need a lot more when I get home. Love and kisses, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad tells Mom about the natives, in particular the women. The native women do all the work and carry heavy loads, while the men stroll around with nothing in their hands. He says the Yanks have won them over, for it's a common sight to see a native dressed in a Yank uniform. August 1, 1944. My darling. Another month has started, and my 26th month for me overseas. I wish some of the rumors would come true. It's a nice sunny day out here today, so that will help dry up some of the mud. The natives here are very clean. The women wear the most clothing, while the men only have as much clothing on as a sheet of paper. The women do all the work and carry heavy loads, while the men walk around with nothing in their hands. The Yanks have won them over. It's a common sight to see a native all dressed up in a Yank uniform. Well, little girl of mine, I don't have to tell you I miss you very much. You know that I do, and I love you more each day. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad enjoyed another outdoor movie with Charles Boyer and Ingrid Bergman. He tells Mom the Aussie expressions are odd. Of course, he has enclosed more pictures for her to save for their album. August 3, 1944. My darling. I just got back from the local movie. It was called Gaslight, and I thought it was pretty good. However, Charles Boyer was very rough on Ingrid Bergman. You better not go to see it, for I know it would make you cry, you softy you. I'm listening to my radio and it's playing some Aussie expressions. They are funny, or should I say, odd. A gal that is a hot number is called a livewire. The fellows in the jungle are called jungle jokers. One guy has a children's program that he named The Kid Chickadee. The movies I've seen sure make you think wars are won fast. I think I'm looking at 23 months so far. Enclosed are a few pictures I cut out of magazines, and they show the places where I was stationed. I'm sending them home to you before they get wrecked. Boy, hon, these love movies make me feel awful at times, but I struggle through them by imagining you and I together. I guess this covers the current situation. With love and lots of kisses, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad has the blues but hopes Mom is okay. He knows a letter from her will bring out the sunshine and snap him out of his mood. News that the war in Europe and in the South Pacific is escalating reaches him. He is hoping this is a good sign. He really misses dancing cheek to cheek with Mom. August 5, 1944. My dear Mary, this is one of those days I feel down in the dumps. I hope everything is okay with you, sweetheart. I know a letter from you would bring out the sunshine and snap me out of this mood. However, I had no luck receiving anything today. The war in Europe and the situation here in the South Pacific has been escalating at a high rate of speed. I'm hoping this means we're getting closer to the end. On September 1, 1944, I will have 2 years overseas. Wars sure take time out of one's life. My radio is my pal. I don't know how I would get by without it. The songs are so good these days, and I can't wait to try them out on the dance floor with you. I can still remember how we used to dance cheek to cheek. It was pure heaven. Guess the ban on gas will be lifted, and new cars will start to appear. I would like to get one, but we'll see how much they will cost. So long, my sweet, and take care of yourself. With all my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is looking at Mom's picture and says he likes the shy look on her face. He gazes at her in a house dress. He is not the least bit disappointed. He does not want her to work too hard. August 8, 1944. My darling Mary. It is one of those exciting nights in the South Pacific Islands. Yeah, it's so romantic and all that sort of stuff. Haha, it would definitely be greatly improved and much more exciting if you were here. Hun, and much more exciting if you were here, hun. If you only knew how much you mean to me. If I were holding you in my arms, I could show you my love in person instead of dreaming about it in my little tent. I have the picture of you in the house dress with a broom in front of me. That shy look on your face is so cute. I can see how you will look as a housewife, and I'm not the least bit disappointed. I sure wish I had you by my side. I really need a large dose of tender love more than ever. Don't work too hard, sweetheart. I know you have your hands full with your mom being sick, but don't ever exert yourself. Remember, you are saving yourself for me as I am saving myself for you. So long, my sweet one. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad doubted Mom's love, wondering if it was on paper only. He has no worries now because she proved herself by sticking by him and writing. It seems workers in the States are striking for better wages. He disagrees with their complaints. He says our soldiers work hard but get paid very little. August 11, 1944. Dear sweetheart Mary, I often wondered if your love for me was on paper only. My heart started jumping the day I met you, so I know it's true on my end. I have no worries about you now because you have proved your love for me by staying with me and writing to me all this time. My radio is playing the songs No Love or Nothing Until My Baby Comes Home. Ain't it the truth? By the way, I was offered $150 for my radio which I built for myself. It's worth $1 million to me for it has made my time over here more tolerable. I heard workers are striking in the States for better wages. They seem to be complaining to their unions a lot. Why our soldiers work for next to nothing compared to the average worker in the States. I'd like to string them all up or drop them instead of bombs over Japan. I think that is what they deserve. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad relays how much fun he and Mom have writing to each other despite the distance between them. He becomes interested in a movie about China as it was the first place invaded by the Japs who needed to use the natural rubber plantations. August 12, 1984. My darling sweetheart, I got you 2 V letters today that were dated July 16, 1944. They came much slower than your regular letter. We have our fun writing, even if we are so far apart. I saw a movie about China. It was the first place the Japs invaded because they need to use the natural rubber plantations. However, the Japs lost all their raw materials such as rubber and oil because the United States sank their cargo ships. China certainly fought with the odds against them while the Japs committed so many murders of civilians. The Japs started their 8th year of war. I hope we won't be in a war conflict that long. How do we stand with our hot war of love, sweetheart? Now give me a nice big smile so I can dream about those eyes of yours and your pretty face. So long, my sweet thing. All my hot love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is disappointed because he has not received a picture of Mom in a bathing suit. He asks her if she has ever learned to ice skate or drive a car. If not, he would like to teach her both things. He is hoping she isn't so busy at the plant where she works. He thinks most of the factories will start working on civilian items soon. August 14, 1944. My darling, Hun, I'm quite disappointed because I don't have a picture of you in your bathing suit. All the other boys seem to have received them. Oh well, I can be patient, but hurry up, Hun. Mary, I believe you told me once you don't know how to ice skate. Did you ever learn to drive a car? I would like to teach you both of these skills if you haven't tried them already. I hope you're not so busy at the factory now. I think there is a slow period of time of making war materials. Am I correct? Are private people able to buy tires? I guess most of the factories will begin working on civilian material soon. Were shoes ever rationed? I believe I heard something about that from my family. Do you think you will be brave enough about us to shut off the light in your parlor? It won't matter either way to me, for I can be romantic in light or dark. Tell me, did the Picnic Grove have their outdoor dances this year? Sweetheart, I'll close for now, for it is 10:45 p.m., and I must hit the hay. With all my love, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom has received a boatload of letters from Dad describing everything about his surroundings where he is stationed. He also describes Army life in general. August 16, 1944. Dear Johnny, you'll never know how happy you make me feel when I receive your letters and cards. You are too good to me, Johnny. In 1 week, I received 6 postcards, one 12-page letter, one 4-page letter, and that beautiful compact all for me. I don't know how to thank you, so I'll just say plain thank you. And when I see you again, I can make it more personal. You make me proud of you, honey. Your letters are as interesting as they are beautiful. I can't help but tell my folks the cute things you write. I was sorry to hear how tough the army has gotten. Oh gosh, darn it. Why doesn't somebody do something to end this whole fighting battle? I can't get over how hard you have to work. I wish this war would end right away. When I walk home from work, I always think of you marching left, right, etc. I'm reading your 12-page letter now. You tell me everything, and honestly, I just can't seem to think of anything to answer your letters. How could I ever forget you? How sweet of you to figure out how many hours have passed since you last saw me. You are a sweet monkey. With love, your sweet Mary. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea. Dad is relieved and pleased as he has finally gotten a picture of Mom in her bathing suit. He describes a picture of herself waiting for Dad with her hair spread out on her pillow. Dad gets all tingy and excited at the thought of it. August 17, 1944. Dearest darling, what a relief and a pleasure. I finally got you to send me a picture of you in a bathing suit. Woohoo! I have 2 bottles of beer in front of me, so I'll have one on you. You should go out and have at least 1 drink for me. This picture will keep me company on these cold nights here. The picture you describe of you waiting for me with your hair spread out on your pillow gets me tingy and excited in more ways than one. Honey, it sure is nice for me to get wrapped up in your letters. All I think about is us, you and me. I love you 2 years, 1 month and 13.5 days more than I did before. Lots of love, your old man. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom informs Dad about the activities at home when it's 10:45 p.m. Times are tough, so if a family can save money by making their own meat supply, they are resourceful. August 20, 1944. My dear Johnny, guess what my dad is doing right now? It's exactly 10:45 p.m. and he's chopping up a fresh lamb. He bought it, killed it, and now he's making lamb chops from it. Johnny, don't worry about me, for there are no others in my mind or heart. It's very hard, but so far I have managed to stay away from loving someone except you until the war is over. Dear, I know you're lonely and would be happy if I was with you, but don't be a sissy. Face it and show yourself that nothing is getting the best of you. We can always dream, hope, pray, and picture each other. I guess our letters are censored, but I don't care. Your woman, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific War Front in New Guinea, Dad gets word from home that some of his schoolmates are missing in action. He says everyone can be lucky while fighting a war. He hears a rumor about the release of a lot of soldiers after the war ends. He hopes this dream will come true. August 20, 1944. My dear sweetheart, my mail from home tells me some of my schoolmates are missing in action. I guess everyone can't be lucky while fighting a war. There is talk about releasing a lot of men after the war. I hope this dream will come true and I'll get to come home. I hope. At any rate, it is a nice dream. So long, wife-to-be. I'll be hunting you down soon. Love always, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom and Dad are still writing to each other. Mom is describing how she took care of her own mother as well as her brothers and sisters. September 1, 1944. My darling Johnny, when I was small, I was always the big sister or the mother in our playhouse. Mostly I kept house for Mother. I used to hold one of my baby sisters or brothers, and they used to cry and crawl away from me, for I was small too. She used to tie the baby and me to the back of a chair. Movies? What were they? I hadn't seen one until I went to clean houses in Somerville, New Jersey, and I was 15 at the time. That's when I really became a lady. All my younger life, I was a grown-up girl. I never owned a doll and I never had a bicycle of my own, so I never learned to ride one. Mother never had to tell me what to do. I quit school at the age of 13 and took care of our home and 3 children while Mother and Dad went to work. At 15, I left home to clean houses, and I never returned home to stay until I was 23, even though I always sent Mom and Dad some money to help out. With all my love, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in New Guinea, Dad is elated because he has received some snapshots of Mom in her two-piece bathing suit. He praises her figure and reminds her that she is the reason he's fighting now more than ever. The pose of her waving and the one of her sitting on the lawn with this letter spread around really touched him. September 4, 1944. My darling sweetheart. Well, hun, I received your snapshots, and you bet I was happy. The two-piece bathing suit looks very nice on you, and also what's inside it too. Gosh, hun, you do have a very nice figure, so don't think anything different. I like the pose of you waving very much. I can really see what I'm fighting for more than ever. The picture of you sitting on the lawn with all my letters spread around was very touching. I just had to show the boys the pictures. They all thought with a figure like yours, you should be a dancer. Whatever you decide to do in the future is all right with me as long as I am part of it. I will support you all the way. Love, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom and Dad are as close as they can get. They also pray for one another in church. September 10, 1944. My darling, I loved receiving the silver ring with the 2 hearts on it made from a Jap Zero. Oh, honey, you can imagine what all the girls at the plant thought when I showed them my ring. It warmed my heart to think of your heart and my heart together on one ring, as we always will be 2 hearts together. This is a little poem from the Blessed Mother Mary called Hymn for Soldiers. Mary, help our valiant soldiers. Guard them all on land and sea. Keep them ever close to Jesus and sweet Mother near to thee. Help them in all care and sorrows. Bring our boys home safe, we pray. Mary, help our darling sailors. Guard them all on land and sea. Keep them ever free from danger, ever close to God and thee. Mary, help our absent loved ones. Oh, we miss their presence here. Help our fathers, friends, and brothers dear. Help them, guide them far and near. My love to you, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Philippines, Dad's having fun riding in an army duck. He becomes busy as a bee helping to set up camp and unload supplies. He describes Mom as a sweet little girl with golden hair and a nice curvy body. September 16, 1944. My darling Mary, this place isn't bad, but it does rain quite often. In fact, we got off the boat in a driving rain in one of those army ducks. Ducks are vehicles with wheels that can transport people either on land or water. I'm busy as a bee now helping set up camp and unload supplies. Hun, did you ever get the ring I sent you with the 2 hearts on it? Please let me know. I still can't find the time to write to you even if I'm busy, for you are very important to me. I can now say I have a sweet little girl waiting at home for me. She has golden hair, weighs only 98 pounds, and has a nice curvy body. She has dimples on her knees and a vaccination as well. The rest of her is a military secret. Remember, there is a sad soldier waiting to see his honey. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront somewhere in the Philippines, Dad is paying close attention to the number of men sent home. He shocked his mom when he sent her the grand to put in the bank for him. He describes the babes in this new location as they look like our American Negroes. September 17, 1944. Dearest darling, well, hun, we sent a few men home before we moved. Now we have sent more from here. I'm paying close attention to this. Yes, darling, we will make all those little things you want for our home. I am sure now that we can have one. My mom almost fell over when she received the grand I sent her to put in the bank for me. I guess she didn't know her Sonny was capable of saving so much money. The babes around here wear a lot of clothes, so we have no more scenery above the belt. They look more like our American Negroes, and they work very hard. I saw one woman carrying at least 180 pounds on her back, while the old man carried a cane and nothing else. I can't tell you much about this place yet. I was glad to hear of the landing 300 miles near the Philippines. I'm hoping my letters reach you quicker after you start using this new APO. Take care of yourself. Your sweetheart, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, braving the weather near the Philippines. The mail is a little mixed up because Dad keeps moving from because Dad keeps moving from one location to another. The war seems to be spreading out, and Finland is now fighting Germany. September 19, 1944. My dear Mary, I'm still very busy, but it rains off and on, so it slows us down a lot. Despite the weather, we are making good headway. Everything is a little mixed up with the mail situation. The post office boys from our old location used to eat with us, so they are sending our mail in one bag. This means we get our mail over time. Even though I have been busy, I can always find the time to write to you. I was on guard duty last night from 3 a.m. to 5:30 a.m., so I slept the rest of the morning. I kept looking at the sky and the stars thinking of you, so the time went fast for me. I heard Finland is now fighting Germany. The war is spreading out. Any place I visit or move to surprises me, for it is fixed in Yank style. Boy, the Japs better give it up now. I miss you more than ever. All my love to you, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front located near the Philippines, Mom and Dad agree on the large size of their wedding. They're thinking of a possible location. Dad does not like to hear she is working so hard every day. He says he will have to concentrate on getting home as soon as he can to do something about it. September 21, 1944. My dearest Mary, I understand the picnic grove at Deals Manufacturing must be quite a place. I can see you have your heart set on having a big wedding. I like the idea, and maybe we can get the place for it. It's so muddy here, especially when you drive jeeps and trucks all over the area. Gosh, hon, it makes me feel bad to hear that you have to work so hard every day. I'll just have to concentrate on getting home as soon as possible to do something about it. I can't say much about this place, for no one is sure what the real score is here. This does it for now, honey. All my love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front near the Philippines, Dad explains to Mom he has heard almost all the outfits have sent their September rotation men home. He is thankful for the cooks who live with him as they listen to the radio and give Dad war news they hear while he is working. September 23, 1944. Dear darling, a rumor went out all over this island to the effect that Germany gave up, but I knew better. I have the radio on all day, and the cooks who live with me listen to it when I'm working. I have the radio on all day, and the cooks who live with me listen to it when I am working. Almost all the outfits have sent their September rotation men home. We still are 2 months behind compared to them. Closing now before I fall asleep. All my love to you, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front, somewhere in the Philippines. The boys are discussing girls as their favorite topic. Dad gets a letter from Mom telling him she bought him a new bed with his money instead of using it for herself. His stuff was moved without incidents, and he has hung up Mom's picture. September 25, 1944. My dearest one, right now the boys are discussing our favorite topic, which is girls. In my tent, I now live with 1 radio man and 3 cooks. I have to live with them, for this is a very GI place. It is surprising to me considering where I am to find it this way. I received a letter from my mom. Gosh, she's so good to me. I keep sending her money so she can save it, because after we get married, I won't be able to help her financially. What does she do? She bought me a new bed. She is always doing something for me, but I wish she would take the hint and keep the money for herself. I just heard a good one. An Aussie said, in the next war, we Yanks won't have to go there in person. All they need is for us to send uniforms, because there are so many Yank kids in Australia. Well, my little one, I have said my mouthful for this time, so I'll call it quits. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific War Front near the Philippines, Dad has put up his permanent tent. He says all the guys can arrange their things to get organized. He tells Mom he hung her picture above his head so we can study her curves. September 26, 1944. My darling Mary, it's another rainy night, so we will have no outdoor movie tonight. I finally put up our permanent tent, and it's not too bad. Now we can arrange our things and get organized. All my stuff came through, although some guys were not as lucky and lost a few things. I have your picture hanging up again in my tent. That was priority number 1 for me. I now have you standing right above my head, waving to me with your curves behind your bathing suit. My mom is sending me 6 rolls of film. As soon as I get myself in shape, I'll snap a few terrible pictures of myself and the boys. Now I'm smoking a big El Rapo cigar. No, I'm not celebrating a guy becoming a father. Rather, it's a 2-bit cigar just for the heck of it. I'm settling down now for the night with a prayer to hurry up and end this war so I can see you again. My love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Philippines, that's where someone has messed up the process of sending men home. Morale has hit rock bottom for many of the boys. He feels this jungle life has taken a toll on him. September 27, 1944. My dearest darling, there is a group that has half as many men eligible to go home, yet they will send 7 men home this month while we are sending only 1 lucky stiff home. Surely someone must have messed up. This really makes morale low, and in fact, it could hit rock bottom. Luckily for me, I just think about you and that makes me forget everything. I get by much easier than those guys who haven't a gal waiting for them. This jungle life has taken a toll on me. I have the utmost confidence in you to help snap me back in shape. I hope to have at least 75 years with you, so there is no hurry. You were made for me to love even though it took 27 months to hear you talk. With lots of love, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Philippines, Dad has lost patience with the wet weather in his area. The weather is so wet for long periods of time, nothing has a chance to dry out before the next rain starts. September 28, 1944. My dear Mary, I wish this place wasn't so wet. Gosh, it's awful, because nothing has a chance to dry out. I had clothes hanging on a line for 6 days, and they're still wet. There are a lot of palm leaves around here I can wear. I can always wear my birthday suit. With love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Philippines, Dad is living in the jungle presently, so he thinks he might be here long enough to learn the Jap language. He already knows some naughty words. He's sending more pictures home for the album. September 29, 1944. My darling, well, I'm still in the jungle, so I guess I'll be over here long enough to learn the Jap language. I already have a good head start with the naughty words. I have some exciting news. All the boys were delighted, and we never knew it could happen to us. Guess what? It did not rain today. Enclosed are a few pictures I want you to save for our album. I now have 8 rolls of film on their way, so I will be able to take pictures of some scenes around here. Love always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, arriving in the Netherlands. Arriving in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad is now located somewhere in the Netherlands East Indies, and he says it is a lot like New Guinea. He likes his new location. He hasn't the slightest idea what to get Mom for her birthday or Christmas. He tells her a sad story about one of the boys' girlfriend who suddenly passed away. It was a big shock to everyone, as she was very young. October 3, 1944. Dearest Mary, I am somewhere in the Netherlands East Indies. It seems to be about the same as New Guinea. My old company was in Australia in a large city. I would rather be here even if it's just dog faces on natives that we see around here. I still don't know what you want for your birthday or Christmas. You mentioned that another letter will tell me what I need to know, but I haven't received it yet. One of the boys got word that his gal died. It was a big shock, for she was very young. He had 26 months overseas and might have had a chance to go home soon. All this kind of news makes a person stop and think. Be sure to take good care of yourself this winter. I think that is the most dangerous part of the year. I'll close now before I get myself in a blue mood. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad is overcome by the tropical heat. He says the heat drains all his energy. He is sending Mom more pictures for the album. October 4, 1944. Dear Mary, gosh, honey, this place really makes a person tired. It's the tropical heat that does it. I have enclosed a few more pictures for our album. They get ruined over here so easily because of the humidity, so I hope you don't mind saving them for me. Love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad describes this location as very different from the big city. In other locations, the whole town comes out to greet the Yanks. He wants to send Mom a sum of money to cover her birthday and Christmas presents. October 7, 1944. My darling Mary, the Southwest Pacific hasn't anything of the big city stuff, where the whole town comes out to greet the ex. On the other hand, you probably would worry about me if I were in France. The picture you sent me shows women jumping all over the men. You might think I have a babe, but honestly, you're all the babe I need. It's getting closer to your birthday, and I still don't know if it would be okay to send you a sum of money to cover your birthday and Christmas. As you know, I can't find anything here for you. You know darn well if I had a choice, I would try to pick out something nice for you. I'm sure all the Christmas gifts you pick out for me will come in handy. Besides, you know me better than I do myself. Take care, hun. When you look in the mirror, pretend I am standing there beside you. Love and many kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in Netherlands East Indies, Dad credits Mom for inspiring him to lead his army life. He doesn't know how he would have done it without her encouragement. October 12, 1944. My sweetheart, I had no idea what I could say to a girl who I haven't seen for 28 months. All it took was a little one like you to inspire me. I don't know how I would have stayed with this army life alone without someone like you. I tried to send a few pictures in each letter. It's better for you to get something besides my boring letters. Our album must be pretty full of pictures by now. Our kids will get a kick out of them. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad has decided to send Mom a $50 money order to cover her birthday and Christmas present. He hopes she gets his birthday card in time. Even though he is not always pictured in each photo, he wants to save these pictures to remember the boys he served with overseas. October 14, 1944. My darling Mary, some time ago, I asked if I could send you a sum of money for your birthday and Christmas presents. Well, I have waited for 2 weeks, so I decided to send you a money order in the amount of $50 to cover both occasions. I certainly would have done more if I were home in the States. I hope you got my birthday card in time. I also sent a few pictures some of the boys gave me. This is the reason I'm not in them. They probably won't mean much to you, but to me they will. I want to be able to remember the guys who I spent my overseas time with in the future. Loads of love, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Dad has been sending Mom a lot of pictures to save for him. He plans to make an album of the places he visited, the people he saw, and the friends he made. He also wants to be able to show their kids what army life and the war showed him. October 15, 1944. My loved one. Oh, darling, I'm so happy I could almost scream, cry, dance, and sing all at the same time. For 2 weeks now, I have been so miserable because I had not received even one letter from you. This week it is only Tuesday, and I already got 14 letters all from you. Johnny, your little girl is simply overjoyed with happiness. Honey, all these pictures you are sending me will look nice in an album. You will be able to put them in order and show them to your family and friends. I can't wait until you are able to finally come home to us. Love always, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad can't wait to get started doing radio work. Dad says it is a contest between all the radios and only the loudest wins. He feels so sorry for his friend as he has lost all his spirit. He wants Mom to go ahead and buy a nice hope chest. October 15, 1944. My darling, I'm back to being busy again. Sometimes I work days and sometimes nights, but I always make an effort to write to you. I'll be glad when we will be doing radio work again. There is a radio in almost every tent around me, so you can hear 3 or 4 programs at the same time. It's a case of which one can't play the loudest. Remember me telling you about the boy whose girlfriend died? He used to run a mail call. Now he doesn't even move, and he lets someone else check to see if he got a letter from home. What a change in him. He has no happiness or inspiration anymore. A sweetheart sure makes a big difference in one's life. With all my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad is encouraging Mom to buy a nice hope chest. He reminds her they are both helping their parents financially. However, they will need some nice things for their own house as well. He has enclosed a special letter that was given to all the guys who have crossed the equator. He wants Mom to save it for him. October 16, 1944. My darling sweetheart, I received your letter of October 1, 1944. Gosh, honey, it was one of the dearest letters I ever got from you. It's the one with a blue bow and all those cute cutouts pasted in it. Please go ahead and buy yourself a hope chest. Honey, please do what I say. After all, I have made more money in the past 2 years, no matter how much you made. I have saved all my money except the $25 or $30 a month I sent to my mom. Besides, you are still helping your folks get straightened out financially before we are married. My folks are all set now. I have enclosed a paper given to all those who have crossed the equator. Please save it for me. Our little junior will not have 2 strikes on him like we started with in life. He will start off on top thanks to your inspiration and love. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, an article in the Yank newspaper informs Dad he is now permitted to reveal the places where he was stationed. He starts describing each place and reassures Mom by saying he was never even near any action. He reiterates that she should not worry about the Japs finding him, as it is like looking for a needle for a haystack. October 18, 1944. My darling Mary, I read in the Yank newspaper that we are now permitted to tell about all the places we were stationed in Australia. I spent a few months initially in Brisbane. After that, I traveled 1,000 miles north by train to Townsville. I stayed there a few days, then I went to Charter Towers. It is a small town west of Townsville. I stayed there for the rest of my time until my transfer. The population was almost 8,000 people, and the town had only 3 streets. Now you know I wasn't even near any action until I went to New Guinea. I spent quite a few nights in a trench while the Jap planes flew over our heads. Since I left New Guinea, I have spent only 5 minutes in a little hole built for 2 people. It is surprising how many people can fit in them during a raid. Don't worry, hon. For the Japs, it is like looking for a needle in a haystack. They have a few planes, and none are any bigger than our medium bombers. All Yank newspapers are censored, and any articles are changed before they are printed in it. I'm still trying to throw out more junk. One of the boys in my tent got a letter from a girl weighing 175 pounds. Boy, are we having fun kidding him. Imagine him trying to sleep in a single bed with that big of a babe. With a ton of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad describes the dengue virus spread by mosquitoes and tells Mom he had a fever due to a stomach problem, luckily not the dengue fever. He did have to spend 6 days in the hospital. The Japs lied about many things. However, Dad and the boys find out the truth about the war status. October 19, 1944. My darling, our first sergeant went home on a 21-day furlough, and he will be back in about 4 months. Also, a very small number of men went home on rotation, so I'm still a long way off from my dream of coming home. Hun, all my life I have never gotten sick, and that includes both civilian time and time spent in the army. I developed a fever due to a stomach problem. There were many cases of dengue fever around, so I had to spend 6 days in the hospital. The fever is part of the disease, and the dengue virus is spread by mosquitoes. By the way, the Japs lied about the things we now know about. We sure must have given them hell in Formosa. Formosa is an island off the coast of China and is present-day Taiwan. I guess this ought to bore you enough, so I will close my trap before my bridge falls out. With all my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront, still in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad hasn't stopped writing to Mom, but could not mail his letters all at the same time. He explains that the Indian Ocean is lacking mailboxes. He was tested in radio school but did not have any problem with the test. October 10, 1944. Sweetheart of mine, I told you in the past that there may come a time when you might not hear from you for a couple of weeks. You say you received 14 letters at one time. You see, I didn't stop writing, but I couldn't mail the letters at the time. After all, the Indian Ocean has no mailboxes. Even though I'm 9,000 miles from home, I have you in my heart. We took a test for radio school today. It was just like asking a good cook how many vitamins are in a meal. In other words, they're not actual operative questions, and only used for radio's cool entrance. Only an equipment designer would have a use for them. I guess this covers the situation for now. Give my regards to your folks. With oceans of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad hears a Jap report that says American troops landed in the Philippines 2 days ago. The Filipino people are very generous, so it is thought that if they offer you something, you must accept it. Otherwise, you will hurt their feelings. He explains the airplane pictures and how each mission is painted on the body of the plane. Dad also found out some of the first boys who were sent home ended up in an overseas replacement center, so they will be sent overseas a second time. October 22, 1944. My darling Mary. According to the Jap reports, American troops landed in the Philippines 2 days ago. We did not hear this from the Army reports we usually get here. They say it hurts the feelings of the Filipino people if they offer you something and you refuse to take it from them. Most of the people are Spanish or Malaysian. I do hope I get a chance to visit some of these places one day. All the plane pictures I sent you are for our planes. A bomb is painted on them for each mission, and a plane is painted for each Jap shot down. This also applies to ships, so if you sink a ship, then a ship is painted on the plane. Some of the first boys who went home are now in an overseas replacement center, so I'm guessing they will be sent overseas a second time. I may be rather busy for some time now, so I might not be able to write to you every day. However, don't worry, hon. You will hear from me. Love and many kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad is surprised when a large rain hits a tent and then runs right through it. He says at his previous location they slept on wooden pallets. However, here they just have coral. The boys say my tan is as dark as a native, so Mom might not recognize him when he returns. He has another amusing tale about how one guy was able to acquire whiskey from home in mouthwash bottles. October 24, 1944. My darling. Once again we had a large rain last night. One tent started to fill up because it was a little low and water ran right through it. At my previous location, we made wood pallets to sleep on, but here we just have coral. I do miss my personal tent. There I can think in peace. All the boys tell me my tan is as dark as a native, so you might not recognize me when I get home. All the boys in my tent are growing mustaches. We are kidding everyone into thinking Filipino women like them, so that is the reason. We do need something to pass the time anyway. One of the boys called home, and they sent him whiskey in mouthwash bottles. This is one way of getting it here unnoticed. A base rule now says we must wear complete uniforms whenever we are away from the company area. We are also required to wear our stripes. I hope we will leave this place before they tell us we have to wear neckties as well. Closing with all my love, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Mom and Dad enjoy writing and reading letters so much, they even reread the letters. Mom likes to send him some prayers and poems. October 29, 1944. My darling. Honey, I think I finally caught up with rereading and answering your letters for now. I better get some sleep, so I'm going upstairs and sharing my bed with your picture. With your picture next to my heart and this prayer on my lips, I fell asleep after saying this prayer. Heavenly Father up above, please protect the one I love. Keep him safe, keep him sound, no matter when or where he's bound. Help him to see that I love him, make him love me. Oh dear God, help me to be the kind of girl he wants me to be. Keep us now, keep us forever. Happy, loving, and trusting together. Dear one, I hope you are staying well. I'm thinking of you daily. Lots of love, Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront from the Netherlands East Indies, Dad warns Mom not to fall for any baloney where people ask for a donation to buy cigarettes for the boys overseas. He says they have never seen any evidence of this fund. He tells her about 2 Red Cross girls who load up a jeep with lemonade and cookies for the guys. They were surprised as the guys told them, this is the first Red Cross visit they have had in 19 months. October 29, 1944. Sweetheart of mine, I often wondered if you believe all that baloney they dish out when they ask for donations to buy cigarettes for the troops overseas. We have never seen any evidence of such a fund here. I had an experience at my former location. It seems two new Red Cross gals who had just arrived decided to load up a jeep with lemonade and cookies. They drove to our area where we were working and gave out these items. Then they asked if the Red Cross was ever here before. We said this was the first visit in 19 months. Boy, were they surprised. They said in the States, they told us a lot of things, and now we find out there are many things that don't exist overseas. So, hun, don't fall for any of it. The situation is not like the previous war. During the last war, the Red Cross gals were nurses. Now they only give out books, ice water, or a few cookies. The food is only for anyone passing through, but not for the permanent men stationed at the base. Don't worry about me because I feel fine and very healthy at 154 pounds. Give yourself a nice big squeeze and try to imagine it's my arms doing it. Love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad encloses a picture of a mess sergeant who is Slovak and has become his buddy. He can't get over the fact the natives have almost more GI equipment than he owns. October 30, 1944. Dearest Mary, I have enclosed a picture of our mess sergeant. He's Slovak, and we get along swell. You ought to see the natives around here. They have almost more GI equipment than I have myself. Honey, now we know a lot more about each other, so you can imagine how great it will be for us to be together. Our love has stood the time test, so nothing can break us apart now. Sweetheart, I guess this is all for the time being. Don't let this get you down. Cheer up and remember we still have our deep love to keep us going. Love with many kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad calls attention to his change in rank and he is proud to be a technical 4th grade, otherwise known as a sergeant. He is happy to receive a pay increase and says this was somewhat of a surprise as he was not aware of any positions being open. November 2, 1944. My darling Mary, first of all, I must call your attention to the change of my rank. I am now a technical 4th grade or otherwise known as a sergeant. I can now get $96 per month. It was somewhat of a surprise, for I had no idea any position were open. You see, we had received at least 8 men with the rank of sergeant from the States. It sure looked hopeless for us older men to attain another rank. However, since we sent some men home, the ranks were reconstructed, so now we are on an even grade. I sent you more pictures to save for me as they spoil easily in this climate. Lots of love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad begins with a funny poem about a boy wolf and a girl wolf. He says he is very busy during the day but gets plenty of rest at night. He is sending more pictures which need explanations, and he will do this when he returns home. November 4, 1944. Hi, honey. I will start right away with some humor. The wolf. If he parks in his flivver down beside the moonlit river, and you feel him all a-quiver, baby, he's a wolf. If he says you're gorgeous looking, and your dark eyes set him cooking, but your eyes aren't where he's looking, baby, he's a wolf. If he says that you're an eyeful, but his hands begin to trifle, and his heart pumps like a rifle, baby, he's a wolf. If by chance when you're kissing, you can hear his heart a-missing, and you plead but he won't listen, baby, he's a wolf. She-wolf. If she throws her little quiver in the front seat of your flivver and says it's pleasant on the river, brother, she's a wolf. If the getup she's wearing turns your head and keeps you staring 'cause the length's a little daring, brother, she's a wolf. If she really is bewitching and she kisses with a twitching, and if her rosy lips are itching, brother, she's a wolf. It's cute, eh, hun? I'm still very busy during the day, but don't worry, I get lots of rest at night. I have enclosed a few more pictures. I'll explain them when I get home. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad tells Mom about a regular fellow they called Chief who was due to go home, and how the boys gave him 3 cheers after he got through thanking them for being like brothers to him. He also comes out with an amusing but interesting story about a native who visited their tent. November 6, 1944. My dearest sweetheart, it must be very nice this time of the year at home. I would be so happy just to snuggle in your arms and pitch some woo. I sure could stand a lot of that stuff, and I do mean stuff. One of our officers has left our company. It's the one we all called Chief. He sure was a regular fellow, and we gave him 3 cheers when he got through thanking us for being like brothers to him. We had a native visit us in our tent today. He couldn't speak English very well, but his handwriting was very neat. About 15 boys gathered around him and kept asking him how to say this or that. We sure had some fun with him. You should have seen the native making all kinds of expressions when the guys with false teeth pulled out their bridges. I don't know what he was thinking, but just watching him was entertaining. Take good care of yourself for me, honey. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront in the Netherlands East Indies, Dad has fixed up a radio and sold it for $140. He says the guys think nothing of paying this much and are delighted to get one. He hears a disturbing story and finds it hard to believe how some of the guys who went home on rotation wearing overseas stripes and visiting bars in San Francisco, California, are being beaten or robbed. November 7, 1944. My darling girl, everything is going fine with me, and I hope all is the same with you. I sold a radio today for $140. All the guys think nothing of paying this amount of money, and the guy was delighted to get the radio. One of the guys whose brother went home on rotation told him that in San Francisco, California, you must watch out for yourself. The guys who are seen with overseas stripes on are being robbed by civilians, and in many cases, beaten as well. Some of these guys have 50 to 60 missions to their credit. They only wish to go home, and when they finally get there, they get robbed when they go out to a bar. I have some funny stuff to share with you. These are definitions. Stork, a bird who has none of the fun in bringing the baby. Spring fever, the time when the iron in your blood turns to lead in your pants. Private secretary, a good one never misses a period. Pajamas, an item of clothing that newlyweds place beside their bed in case of a fire. Tee-hee! I hope you enjoyed my definitions. Perhaps you know some of the same, and would like to let your hair down and tell me them. After all, we do know each other pretty well by now. I bet you are still giving your hair a rough time. Those golden curls could stand a lot of fussing from these hands. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront somewhere near the Philippines, Dad is very happy to receive his good conduct pin. He had to wait quite a while for it, as he was caught without dog tags on and was told it was an infraction on his record. In this location, the guys must be aware of the times when they need to shut off the lights. November 9, 1944. Dearest Mary, I finally got my good conduct pin. I had to wait until now because at my last location, I forgot to wear my dog tags one day. I now have 4 pins. I'll probably accumulate more of them before I come home. If I don't seem like I'm writing as often, please do not worry about me. In this area, we are required to shut off the light several times during a day. The Japs only make 1 or 2 passes over us. Therefore, we cannot have bright lights on because they could identify our location. However, it's like duck hunting for our pilots and they easily shoot them down. Take care, my sweet one. Love and kisses, Johnny. On the home front in Manville, New Jersey, Dad sends Mom a picture of himself in a grass skirt. Both he and Mom are enjoying their senses of humor. This goes a long way to keeping Dad's morale positive. November 12, 1944. My darling Johnny, you have the sweetest ways of starting your letters as my darling girl. That sends chills as well as thrills all through my system. I'm simply crazy about the pictures of you in the grass skirt. That's my favorite picture, and I laughed so hard my sides nearly split. When I showed Mother and Daddy the picture, they laughed hard too. I have seen and heard Mother and Daddy laughing and sharing jokes with each other many times. I have heard sharing a sense of humor is very important for both husband and wife. Let's hope we can share a sense of humor no matter whether we have hard times or good times in our life together. Love always, your Mary. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is now sharing his experiences in traveling. He cites the various branches of the service with the fact that he and the boys got through all their travels without the slightest bit of trouble. He describes some cute little Filipino children walking around wearing all kinds of GI hats and clothing. November 16, 1944. My dearest darling, I will now share with you a little bit of my experiences in traveling. I had a very long voyage. Thanks to our various branches of the service, we got through it all without the slightest bit of trouble. We landed and unloaded very quickly just to make sure we were away from the waterfront as soon as possible. We turned around and saw some cute little Filipino children walking around with all kinds of GI hats and clothing. Here and there I saw a few men and women. I was too busy to go to the village that first day. I needed some rest as I could still feel the boat rocking even when I was no longer on board. Everything is pretty messed up at the present time. We haven't got our campsite yet. I also have to wait for my new APO address, so hun, you will get a bunch of letters all at one time. I hope you haven't worried too much about me. I'll do my best to write often, so just keep your letters coming too. Lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines. Dad has seen quite a bit of action in the air when one of our pilots shot down a Jap Zero. Dad assures Mom the Japs cannot see them because the lights are shut off many times a day. He is not happy with the awful mosquito population and says he's camped out in some coconut trees. Rumors say that the December quota on rotation may be larger. November 19, 1944. Dear Mary, I have seen a lot of action in the air. I saw a Jap Zero shot down by the same kind of plane I put on the ashtray made for you. This action occurred right over our heads. However, he fell down a mile or so away. If I am not able to write as often, please don't worry your pretty little head. In this area, we are required to shut off the lights many times a day so the Japs cannot see us. Boy, the mosquito population is awful here, and there are plenty of them. I'm camped out among some coconut trees, so if it ain't a Tojo, it will be a coconut falling on us. We are told we will have some civilians helping us tomorrow to clean our area. I'm in a village, and the homes are just huts made of bamboo poles. This place is very GI. It's because the headquarters we are a part of has only been here for 11 months. None of those comfortable places anymore. The latest rumor says that our December quota on rotation will be larger. I have finally been able to get this letter completed and sent. With lots of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad hasn't gotten a chance to explore the larger villages, but he does not have high expectations. He tells Mom the really modern islands are still occupied by the Japs. His tent now includes an indoor foxhole right next to his bed protected from the rain. Little kids are running all over the place, and the boys are looking forward to getting organized so they'll be able to buy some chickens. He also says he has eaten way too much coconut. November 20, 1944. My dearest sweetheart, I'm writing to you during lunchtime. It looks like the food will be very good here. One of the fellows got a letter today, so I'm hoping I'll get mine soon. I haven't gotten a chance to see some of the larger villages, but it's not as if I have high expectations. All the really modern islands are still under Jap control. Little kids are running all over. Most of them can understand a little English and speak a little as well. As soon as we get set up and organized, we'll be able to buy some chicken by returning the favor with cash or goods. They leave this up to us. I've eaten so much coconut that I hate to look at one straight in the face. At our old place, I was paid in Dutch currency. I wasn't able to send any money home because of regulations. It worked like this. 1 guilder was 53 cents American money. They had 1s, 5s, 10s, 50s, and 100s guilder notes in paper. Someday you will see them all when I get home. I think it is a long way off, unfortunately. Now we get paid in pesos. One is worth 50 cents. The silver works just like the Dutch 100 centavos to the peso. 1 centavo is 1 cent in Philippine money. 1 centavo is 1 cent in Philippine money. Please don't tell anyone about the air raids. I don't want my mom to worry. She worries enough about little things, so she doesn't need to know any big things. Remember, civilians in England go through twice as much and serve for 4 years as well. I haven't heard the news on the radio for some time, but I plan to set up my set soon. There's no other way to find out the news. Well, sweetie, this is all for now. All my love and lots of kisses. Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines. Dad goes on an exploration of one city that was badly damaged by the war. He saw some Jap pillboxes, which are small Japanese planes. The boys met some very polite young Filipino boys. They decide to ask the youngsters to help them construct a wooden floor for the tent to keep it off the ground and protected them from the rain. Foxholes also need to be made and covered with trees. November 23, 1944. Dearest Mary, your birthday passed while I was still on the water traveling to yet another camp. I do hope you received my birthday card. I thought of you so much all day, wishing I could have been there with you to help you celebrate and enjoy. I went to a larger place today. It looked like a combination of Chinatown, Negro Town, and Shantytown due to the war. I saw a few Jap pillboxes, which are small Japanese planes that were slightly damaged. I'm guessing the Japs who were in this area at one time got a good hot foot from a flamethrower. They looked very much burnt to a crisp. We keep seeing young Filipino boys around our area all day. I never saw more polite children. They say yes sir or no sir to us and thank you all the time. We're going to ask them to help us make a wooden floor for our tent to keep it off the ground a few feet. This would enable us to stay high and dry even in rainy days. We also have to make some foxholes and cover them with trees. If the rumors I heard about the December quota are true, this puts me about 26th on the list to go home. There's a squadron of mosquitoes attacking me at the moment, so I will close for the present. Love and lots of kisses, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, the mail from the States must once again catch up to the Pacific. Dad sees women carrying large bundles on their heads, which they seem to be balancing without using their arms or hands. He finds out that they prefer to eat rice more than anything else. However, the natives didn't grow rice as the Japs would have stolen it for themselves. November 24, 1944. My mail hasn't caught up to me in this location. However, there were packages at my former place that arrived the same day we left for the Philippines. We're getting our camp in better shape now. The Filipinos get 60 cents a day working for the US government. They prefer to eat rice rather than anything else. The women carry large bundles on their heads and balance them without holding them. It is quite something to see. Every man carries a big knife. The men use their knives to do some work. One of the Filipino foremen got married today and was back on the job anyway. He said, "This is wartime, so I must work." They did not grow rice when the Japs were here because the Japs would have taken it all. I heard there is a drink that is served here that is similar to jungle juice, but is made from coconut milk and doesn't taste as good. None of that for me. I have almost forgotten what it feels like to get lots of mail. I think it might be close by, but not unloaded or sorted out yet. Gosh, how I miss hearing from my sweetheart. I can't wait to see the latest picture of you. That is always one of my best gifts from you. Please repeat anything of real importance. Mail travels through dangerous waters at night and might get lost once in a while. Also, please don't let the newspapers fool you. The Philippine Islands are under our control and aren't much different than New Guinea. Of course, there are no big, tall trees or mines, but the swamps are the same. I'm finding it hard to write interesting letters to you partly due to the fact that I haven't received any mail for a while. However, I can always find something to say to you. Love always, your Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, everyone feels better for they have finally received their first mail delivery at this location. Tojo is attacking the area at night. However, American anti-aircraft guns shoot down the Jap planes. Dad tells Mom about a famous fighter pilot named Major Richard Bong, and he speculates the end of the air battle. Dad speaks with pride as he has serviced the same group of fighter planes used by Major Bong. November 26, 1944. My dear Mary, today we received our first mail delivery in the Philippines. I didn't get one letter. I got more than one. I got 2 large letters from you, 2 V letters, and letters from almost everyone I wrote to as well. Now we all feel better. Tojo is trying to see how long he can keep us up at night. I will never get excited about seeing fireworks again. You ought to see AK-AK, otherwise known as anti-aircraft guns. What a sight to see gunfire at night. One night he overdid it, so I saw one get shot down by our anti-aircraft guns. It sure was a welcome sight. Don't worry, hon. Major Bong can take care of Tojo. Major Richard I. Bong was a member of the Army Air Force in World War II and a Medal of Honor recipient. He was one of the most decorated fighter pilots and the U.S. highest-scoring air ace in the war. He was credited with shooting down 40 Japanese aircraft. All of his aerial victories were in the Lockheed P-38 Lightning fighter. Our company serviced the same fighter group of planes he is in since our outfit has been overseas. Perhaps, at one time, I worked on equipment from his plane. I'm not sure of this because the outfit brings sets of equipment we work on for the planes. I sure am happy you got my birthday card. I said it early for I knew the Philippines were going to be invaded. You do get sentimental. I can only imagine you sleeping with my mail next to your cheeks. You sure are sweet to me. I got 7 packages for my sweetheart for Christmas. Now can I ever keep up with you? I just have enough time to say goodnight. Love always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront located near the Philippines, Dad points out to Mom how both of them have been helping their folks out financially, trying to get their home and property paid in full. He states, however, Junior will not have to do this for he and Mom in the future. November 27, 1944. Sweetheart of mine, I want to explain to you clearly about our Junior being behind the 8-ball or having 2 strikes against him. You and I have been helping our folks out financially since we were around 12 years old. We were trying to get their home and property paid in full. Now we are 26-year-old, and this situation is just about done. Well, our kids will not have to do this for us. Here is the reason I say this. You asked me which is safer, keeping some war bonds or putting money in the bank. Well, hun, both of them are backed by the U.S. government, so you need not worry about losing your money. Besides, war bonds are for a 10-year period, so it isn't too hard to pay them in full. Here is where I have my money and the specific amounts. I have $2,000 in soldiers' deposits with 3% interest, and they can be taken out whenever the owner wants them. I have $500 at home in a bank, and I also have a little over $500 in war bonds. I put a little change in our company safe so when I go home, I will have enough to drink and celebrate. I haven't spent my money on wild women, drinks, or cigarettes. I know how you feel about all this. When we get married, we will have more than a few bucks our folks had when they got hooked. When one feels love deep down in one's heart, those extras are not important. Only our true love matters. All my heart, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Mom tells Dad she received the money he sent for her hope chest, which she will fill with various household items for their future home. The fellow who lost his gal is now in Dad's tent, and he is observing the change in the man's demeanor. There is a new colonel, so Dad now has to wear his uniform in this location. November 29, 1944. My sweet one, I'm glad you received the money I sent you for your hope chest. You say you have accumulated quite a collection. After we get engaged, we can buy plenty more items to save in your hope chest. I think maple is very nice, and your taste is like mine, so I know your choice will be wonderful. The fellow who lost his gal by death is in my tent now. He seems okay, but changed a lot. I know it was quite a shock to him. We have a new colonel here, so you can guess what we have to do now. That's right, we have to wear our uniforms. Oceans of love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad relays that he now has a bamboo hut off the ground with a floor as well. The Filipino boys built it, and now they are working KP for the American soldiers. Dad is impressed with how clean these people appear. He read Mom's list of gifts she will be sending to him and tells her she has great taste and picked out good choices. December 1, 1944. My dear sweet darling, I now have a bamboo hut off the ground with a floor as well. It was built by the Filipinos, and it is just the way I wanted it. We also have them working KP for us, and I may say they sure are clean people. We are finally getting things in better shape here. Luckily, the rain stopped for a few days so we could work easier. I have read your list of gifts you're sending me, and honey, You have great taste and picked out good choices. It can't be much more 6 months before I see you in person. Just don't get yourself all excited and in a flutter. Maybe I'll sneak up and surprise you. Of course, I better duck my head for I know you would swing at me. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is in another location and says this is a much cooler place and much more interesting to him. He describes a B-24 heavy bomber and the amount of gas it takes to fly a fighter plane. He also shares more funny definitions with Mom. December 3, 1944. My darling love. Well, I am traveling once again. I am feeling blue for I haven't received any mail from you for about a week before I had to sail to another place. This year I was unable to get an assortment of Christmas cards, so that's why I only sent one for the whole family. This is a much cooler place than my last one and much more interesting to me. I know I will never see Australia again. Some of the boys landed in New Guinea initially and never got to see the land down under. At least I saw quite a bit of it. My old outfit was busted up and guys were sent all over the place. I thought you might be interested in my explanation of our B-24 heavy bomber. It takes many gallons of gas an hour to run a B-24 heavy bomber. It also takes many gallons an hour just to fly slowly in a fighter plane. The next time you hear someone complaining about the gas shortage, tell him this. When a plane flies in combat, the gas intake increases by LCAPs and borans. They considered the B-24s to be flying boxcars because they were spacious with a slab-sided fuselage. Here are a few more funny definitions. Mother's Day, 9 months after Father's Day. Nursery, a place to park last year's fun until it grows up. Spouse, a combination of a domestic servant, a hot water bottle, and incubator. Horse show, a bunch of horses showing their asses to a bunch of horses' asses who are judges. Bathing suit, a garment without hooks, but with plenty of eyes on it. I thought you would enjoy these. I'm hoping you're enjoying collecting things for your hope chest. Little armful of mine. Don't worry about me. Just keep those letters coming. Lovingly, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Mom feels it is better for Dad to share a tent with a gang instead of being alone. They keep each other company and help one another when necessary. He is telling her about excellent Filipino workers. One even knows how much sugar he likes in his coffee. All the guys work in the radio and supply department. December 6, 1944. My dearest sweetheart, you're right when you said it is better for me to be among the boys rather than be alone. I have a new bunch of guys and we all work in the radio and supply department. This is the gang I work with all day. Our Filipino workers on KP are doing fine. In fact, one of them always remembers how much sugar I use for my coffee. There are 2 men about 23 years old and 1 boy about 16 years old. They sure come in handy, although some of the boys were hoping we would have wax instead. So long, my darling. Your old man, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is happy to report that he had his teeth cleaned by the one and only dentist he has ever met in the Army. He and the dentist are pretty good friends, and Dad has hung out with him in his tent quite a few times. Both he and Mom think the picture of him in the grass skirt is their favorite snapshot. December 7, 1944. My one and only. A moon around here means it is a good night for a visit from Tojo. At home, it sure means something completely different. Of course, I don't need a moon to get me started. I had my teeth cleaned today by the dentist. He is the first and only dentist I have met as long as I have been in the Army. We know each other pretty well, so he has invited me to his tent quite a few times to hang out. You say the grass skirt picture of me is your favorite. It's my favorite one of me, too. Don't forget to practice the hula dance so you can do it for me in the grass skirt when I come home. I am tingling at the thought of it. Lovingly, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad finds out that his first sergeant who had been in his way home on furlough remained in New Guinea while he waited 2 months for transportation. December 12, 1944. My darling, here is the latest news for you. Our first sergeant who was on his way home on furlough was still in New Guinea for 2 months waiting for transportation. Some other guys got home in 3 weeks. This is just one of those things in the Army. Boy, are the Japs spreading all kinds of bullshit on the radio. It is one big laugh. They say everything we have is destroyed, yet we can hear our planes flying overhead all day long. I can't only believe the information our superiors tell us. My love to you, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is telling Mom about some guys he calls guerrillas. He saw a first lieutenant who had long black wavy hair, and he thought this person was a lady. Much to their surprise, the boys find out the lady was actually a man. Apparently, these guys dress in ladies' clothing and sneak back into the village to spy on the Japs and find out gun positions. December 14, 1944. Sweetheart of mine. I went to a large town today in a truck and saw quite a few people. We saw these guerrillas. One first lieutenant had long black wavy hair, and we all thought he was a lady. On the way back, we saw two people hitchhiking, so we picked them up. Much to our surprise, the lady was a man. In fact, the lieutenant let his hair down, and he had a fine head of black wavy hair just like a lady. They let their hair grow so that they can put on ladies' clothing and sneak back into the village and spy on the Japs. This way they could find out gun positions. The people they hate the most are the Filipino collaborators because they would expose them to the Japs. You ought to see the people waving to the lieutenant. He is the local hero around here. He has been a first lieutenant for 3.5 years, so he is rich as well as good looking. He was a prisoner in Bataan, which is a city in the Philippines, and he escaped. He was a lucky one. The Japs marched the American and Filipino soldiers for hours, and if they did not keep up, they were clubbed or shot to death. This was called the March of Death. All my love, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is still busy as a bee working on radio sets for planes. He calls himself the only old man left as he has new guys from the States to train. He anticipates teaching the new guys a lot. They're not as knowledgeable or experienced as he, so they will benefit. December 18, 1944. My dearest sweet one, I have gotten you a Jap jacket and a large clip of Jap wooden bullets. These bullets are used in close-range fighting. I'm still busy as a bee during the day. I'm the only old man left who works on the radio sets for planes. I have a bunch of new guys with me straight from the States. It seems they just teach them how to work on 1 or 2 radio sets. I try to work on as many different radio sets as I can. I find it more interesting, so I like this work a lot. By the way, I have my own little portable radio all fixed up. It's a broadcast set, but there is a special service station close by that I am using. This set works on batteries or electric. So now, hon, we have a nice portable radio set to use at the beach or while we go on hikes. I especially like music and plenty of you. Woohoo! Loving you always, Johnny. On the Southwest Pacific Warfront near the Philippines, Dad is feeling down in the dumps, for he has received Christmas cards but no letters. He is concerned about the lack of rotation